scaring me. As good as the other one compared to seeing Bethany.
No,
I was like, why?
She's so good. I love her so much. It's insane. Like, I know she's like, to me, she's famous. Mm-hmm. I like super fangirl over Bethany Longoria. I'm just like, wow, Bethany. Always. She was like, I saw her as like this powerful, like, Hispanic woman. Like, granted, she's only a few years older than me, but even with that, because like, Loveland's a small town. Like, you don't see people out there chasing their dreams and doing the things that they want. So, seeing Bethany and like watching her out there singing and stuff, I was like, I can do that, but like I can't because she's so good. But yeah, inspiration, definitely.
Hey,
Bethany, if you see this, I love you so much.
Hey, that sounds it. And if it's not part of the podcast, you can bleep this guy.
Yeah, don't blame me.
This episode was sponsored by My Arna. Take the test. Get your skin right. Cool?
Cool.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the Yellow City Kids podcast. We're back better than ever. And of course, I'm here, Hernando Ramirez, and I'm joined with the Dream himself, Dreamcast, Patrick. How you doing, man?
You said you had a new one.
Dreamcast Patrick. That's a new one.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. I thought it was good because it's Dreamcast. We're in a podcast, so, I thought it'd be a little
razzle dazzle.
Well, yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay. And herself, Her Highness, Mrs. Princess
Genevieve. God, you forgot my name. That's how Highness I am.
I didn't want to screw it up. I was scared. I was like, shh.
Princess
Jasmine?
Yeah, that's actually my name, but...
Oh, yeah. There you go. Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. You know her. You love her. You saw her on that carpet.
Come take a ride. I'm just kidding. Don't. No. I'm scared. I'm shy. Take it back.
We're going to go straight into what we were talking about just now. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So, does it feel... Are you in that moment where in life where time feels like it's moving pretty quickly?
Yes, definitely. So, like I said earlier, after 25, it was like I just quit keeping track because I can't even remember like how old I am 9 times out of 10. I'm 24. Just putting that out there. But yeah, I am in that time where it's just work, home, sleep. Most recently, gym is thrown in there. That's like all I do ever. But, I like to watch a lot of like videos, TikToks, YouTube, whatever. And I was actually watching one the other day that was like a psychological kind of like podcast that they do. And they were talking about how as we get older, we start experiencing less and less things that are new. So when we were 5, 6, 7 years old, we're learning how to ride a bike. We're going to school, learning our ABCs, like learning all of these new things and having all of these new experiences. And so our life seemed to just like kind of go on forever back then. We can look back with nostalgia and be like, yeah, I remember that. And it just seems like so long ago, but also like kind of such a long time, right? But as we get older, we quit doing those things. So like I said, we just go to work and do our basic standard routine. We're not learning anything new. We're not having new experiences. So our life just kind of seems like it's passing us by. But the more that we go out and venture out and do new things and have new experiences, like you can kind of elongate that feeling, I guess, make it feel like you're stretching out time a little bit. And I kind of put that into practice. So I heard it maybe like 2 months ago. And I used to be so scared of like traveling and driving by myself because admittedly, I'm a horrible driver. Don't judge me. But I started taking trips to like Dallas and going and seeing friends and like taking new workout fitness classes and things like that. And man, this past month, it just seems like the longest month of my life. But I haven't had a weekend where I wasn't doing something new.
Yeah.
So tried and true.
Like
it works. Yeah. Oh, like a podcast like this. Yeah.
Hey, do you think maybe that's why rich people have like, they're always everywhere,
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Maybe.
And it's so funny that you bring that, like, I talk a lot, you guys.
Go for it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's so funny that you bring that up because I was like on my drive the other day and I was thinking about that. I was like, when you go to a funeral and you hear like a eulogy for a person, a lot of people, they'll say like, oh, they lived a full life or whatever. But say, you know, okay, so for example, like if I passed away right here, right now, somebody might say like, oh, she lived a full life. But me like reflecting back on my life would be like I really didn't do much outside of like this past month. Like right now I would have been like, oh yeah, like I had so many like fun activities and things like that. But like had I not been doing those things, I would have been like, yeah, I wasn't really up to much. But like poor people who like don't get to go out and don't get to have those experiences, they just kind of work their life away. And so when you ask people like that, like, well, what did you do with your life? And they're just like, oh, it was just short. Like I just worked. Versus like a rich person who gets to have all these experiences and go on all these trips and do this and do that. Like even when put into words, it just seems like a lot more, like they had a longer, fuller life. But I feel like putting in perspective, like asking a poorer or like more middle class person, like, do you think you lived a full life? People might say no. But asking like a richer person who, like I said, has had all those experiences, do you think you lived a full life? Probably they would either say yes, or if they said no, it would be because they wanted to do even more.
Right.
But they have those opportunities. They can do things like that. Like most of us really can't. So
yeah,
I was thinking about that the other day actually. So I was like, I do think that rich people are more on that end of the spectrum because they get to do everything. They have options.
Do you personally feel like if you did eventually become rich, or you got a good amount of money,
yep,
do you think you would ever, what kind of person? Because for me, like when I think about myself, and if I were to ever get into that situation, I feel like I'd get like and I have the same thing about marriage too, and my friends make fun of me for this because I feel like as soon as I get married, this I don't know, did you ever play any video games like Super Nintendo?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I played like Mario Kart. Like, does that count? Yeah, Mario Kart. All the time.
So, okay, then that's pretty good so I feel like as soon as I get married and the ceremony is over, the ending credit scenes are gonna start playing like a video game. No, I really do. Like I don't know. It's this weird little fear that I have, and I feel like if I were to become rich, it'd be a similar feeling. Like you did it. Like you now have everything.
Like like you won the game. Like that's it.
Like,
I feel that. I don't think so. I feel like for me, it's quite the opposite, actually. I feel like it would be like the opening scene to like a movie. Like everything that's happened until now would be like the bloopers of me like trying to get there.
Yeah.
And then like when I got to like the money, I guess, and really not even particularly money, just like the resources that I needed to do the things that I wanted and be the person that I want to be, would definitely just be the beginning to like a whole new reality, a whole new something. So not the end. Definitely opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I get the credit scenes. She gets the press start menu.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely how I feel about that. But I don't know. I guess growing up the way that I did, like very much below the poverty line, like didn't have anything. Like I'm so grateful, and to some people it's not a big deal, but like I have a car that's under my name. I pay way too damn much for it, but it's mine. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, money's definitely been kind of like a big factor. It's like those people that say like, oh, money doesn't solve all your problems. Money would solve every single problem that I have as of right now, sitting here today. Every single one. So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like some of the more like, I don't really like to call them celebrities because I'm not really big into the whole celebrity life, but like, you know, pretty well-known people, like Joe Rogan and I don't know if you know who Jordan Peterson is.
I feel like that name is like, it rings a bell, but I couldn't like put a finger on who that was.
He's just well-known for writing a book, and the basic thing about him is that, you know, his whole thing is like, he's that kind of dude that where you make your bed before you go anywhere, so that way, no matter how bad the day is, you can go home to at least a good bed. He's that kind of dude. And I feel like a lot of them have said that they have enough money, like that to them, their problems are, you know, they're different, right? But they can't really like it. They've said it in different ways, but like they can't really relate with us because our problems, yes, they could be fixed with some money. Like literally, if you just gave me this amount of money, boom, everything's like great.
Yeah.
But for them, it's like, I don't know. It's
different.
weird,
Like
right?
very 50 Cent, like more money, more problems.
Yeah.
Like it's different. I feel like that's something that I think about a lot too. Is our problems as like normal people are definitely financially based, like you said. Like with a certain amount of money, I think that I could fix all of my problems. But any more than that, and I feel like then it becomes more of a people problem, not so much like what do I need, what can I get, but like I feel like people then look at you different, and then it becomes like managing relationships versus managing like assets and material things, because people definitely do look at you differently based on like what tax bracket you're in. And I feel like some people might be like trying to like get to you and maybe not abuse you, I can't think of the word, but you know, take advantage of you and your money and things like that. And same for like if you had money and you were like in a corporate setting, like businesses and things like that. When you are an asset, then people are going to use you as an asset, not as a person. So I feel like that's kind of one of the things that maybe is like where rich people don't relate to us, because they don't have to think about the material things, but there are other like relationship situational problems that they have that people are using them for or not using them for based on how much money they have, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First big thing that you'd get if you got a whole bunch of
The first big thing that I would get, a house, for
Yeah.
sure.
House.
A giant
Fancy
house.
house?
Yeah, big fancy house. So
Half a mil, 350, whatever.
big, you say big, I'm thinking 3 mil minimum.
Do you also go on YouTube and watch like house tours and stuff like that, or no? You're not about that.
I'm not really about that. Like I
Okay.
used to way back in the day, you know, MTV cribs, like I'm Mariah Carey and this is my crib. But not as much
No.
like now.
Well, now the ones that I watch, they're just like showcases of the house. They're
Yeah.
not really like, oh, this person owns it. It's kind of like,
Oh.
for me, I don't know. It's funny. I'll watch it and I'll see like this crazy feature in the house. Mm-hmm. I'll be like, okay, how can I get that? But like
In my
smaller.
size, yeah. Miniature.
So how fancy would the house be? You said
Man.
3 million, right?
Okay, yeah, definitely 3 mil as like the base.
Here in
But
Texas, or where are we going?
Man,
because 3
so
million gets you
I think
different.
if I had an option, 3 million is a lot of money, but not so much money in Texas anymore. So I'd probably take it, and my dream is to like live in North Carolina in the Charlotte area.
Oh.
So, and they have a similar like price of living as like in Lubbock. So I probably would take my money and run and
She knows her
like
stuff over here.
and I'm telling you, I've been
She's
doing
ready.
my research.
She's ready for this bag of money just to fall out.
I
of the sky.
am.
Boom,
Look,
let's go.
I'm studying and I'm getting my shit in to make
Yeah.
sure that I can leave hopefully in the next 2 years. Like that's my goal,
Okay.
is to be in Charlotte in the next 2 years. But definitely take my money and run to Charlotte or North Carolina, South Carolina area for sure.
And he
Is
told-
that just because the Panthers or that?
I mean, yeah, partially the Panthers, hashtag keep pounding. Luke Kuechly, if you ever see this, I love you so much. Like, and Christian CMC, run CMC. What?
have y'all? I know y'all were relevant like 2 years ago. But y'all have a pretty good season last year, or no?
No, not really. Honestly, I feel like I'm not really the one to talk to so much about it. Like my Adrian, my best friend, he is like the big Panthers fan. He's kind
Okay.
of the one that got me into it. And like I watch the games and I stare at them and, you know, but and
Okay.
I can tell you kind of what's going
Gotcha.
on, but unless we're winning,
I know it. And she's a Panthers fan. Gotcha.
but so like I kind of watch the games and I know what's going on, but really unless we're having a winning season, I'm not really super into
Yeah.
it. I like to watch the games, but I'm very emotional. Classic me, I guess. I get mad at the games, but I don't think we had a super great season last year, but we've also had a lot of changes going on. Like Cam Newton came back, and I'm not sure if he's gonna stick around for too much longer, but we did bring him back to the roster and he QB'd for us for a couple of games. And yeah, we're definitely in a rebuilding season. I feel like between like David Tepper stepping in the last few years as like the owner of the team, and then just kind of all the people that we've lost to free agency recently, it's definitely just like a rebuilding process. I know a lot of what they've been doing is building up like our defense, I want to say. So
I couldn't tell you, to
Yeah.
be honest.
yeah,
Like, you went a lot deeper than I thought you were going to.
yeah. I mean,
She doesn't just watch the man.
She was about to start talking with schemes and stuff. Like, oh, dude, did you see that?
Yeah. The cross action,
Double,
you
what is it? What is it? what is it? Second coverage, or what is it called?
Yeah, cover 2.
Cover 2. Do you see that cover 2?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know a little bit. I know a little bit of a lot. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but not a lot about a little bit of things. Jack of all trades, kind of.
Okay.
So,
What's your big hobby now?
my big hobby?
You said, is it gym?
Yeah,
Is that-
definitely
yeah.
gym right now. I have a lot, like normal people, weight fluctuates kind of, but so, you know, I'm Hispanic, and so my Mexican, very Mexican. So growing up, everybody looks at you based on your body. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Especially being a girl.
Yeah, I feel like women are more into that. I was like,
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up with like 10 or 11 uncles on my dad's side, and then like 8 or 9 uncles on my mom's side, and then my tias, and then my dad, and like everybody. But I was basically an orphan. I'm basically an orphan. So I don't have a relationship with my dad, and my mom passed away when I was very young. So my grandmothers raised me, and not that they ever really judged me, but let me get to the prominent figure of this. So, so the person who like really taught me to like be a girl, like you see this makeup, it's not fabulous, but my hair's like straight and like I'm kind of pretty, you know,
Look
I'm
great.
okay.
Yeah, you look
Thank
great.
you, thank you. But like I would look like Patrick if no offense to Patrick.
oh, yeah.
No offense to Patrick, but like I would definitely be very tomboy,
Tomboyish,
very
gotcha.
like not know how to do any of those things if it wasn't for one of my uncles who was actually a drag queen. So growing up, he taught me, you know, you always have to look nice when you're going out of the house. You always have to like have your hair done, have your makeup done, have your nails done, things like that. Taught me how to do my eyeliner, taught me how to straighten my hair. So definitely if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't I wouldn't be who I am today. But at the same time, like he was also very like a key figure in like telling me how I looked. So anytime I gained 5 pounds, he was like, oh, well, like you're gaining a little bit of weight, or like, oh, like if I lost weight, and even still, like if I go see him and I've lost any sort of weight, he's like, you've lost weight. Like you look so good. And not that that's a negative thing, but you know, it does have some negative effects on some people who don't really like their weight talked about. I'm not one of those people. I don't care. I'm very self-aware and I know how my body fluctuates. So, last year I was really, really hardcore into kickboxing, like cardio kickboxing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I went to this place in Lubbock. It's off 98th and Quaker. It's called Rock Box. And they do like 50-minute workouts that are like 25 minutes of like functional weightlifting and then 25 minutes of bag rounds. Excuse me, sorry. But I did that like consistently for 6 months and I dropped 40 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah. And then it came to like the dark season, I guess, like fall, winter, where we all kind of get a little stressy, depressy, sad, you know? And I just completely fell off the wagon. And so I've gained all of that weight back. But working out and exercising is definitely something that I love to do. And like, obviously, like nutrition and stuff like that is really important. So like I bought a juicer and like I do all my juices and I try to eat really well.
Oh, is that what that is right there?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is
no, that's not a juice. That's coffee.
matcha green tea
Oh, okay.
latte, a little bit of caffeine. So I don't do well all the time, but I think at this point I've just kind of decided, like if the weight comes off, it comes off, but I want to just like keep working out because it's something that I like to do.
So I'm gonna ask this question. This is just a spectator view.
Yeah.
Because I'm a guy.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's two narratives that women are dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one of them is dress up, look pretty,
Right.
and the other one is ugly is beautiful. And I don't quite get that.
What do you mean ugly is beautiful?
Like kind of like there's a lot of like
feminism type, like you don't have to
like kind of like I've seen it a few, I don't really know how to frame it, but like a lot of women are just
confident, right?
not putting any makeup on, and they're saying that this is
kind of like the clean girl aesthetic where like less is more kind of.
No, I mean like they're pretty like bad. Like it's just like they're celebrating just being completely.
So you mean like the girls that are like
self-indulging.
growing out like their underarm hair and like
Yeah,
things
and,
like
and
that,
just
like
like
that
they
sort of
just.
Yeah, so I think that definitely
Is that legit, or am I just making that all
No.
up?
I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like I understand what you mean. So like on the one hand, there's very much like the high maintenance girls who like to have their nails done, their eyelashes, their makeup, like all that stuff. And then on the other hand, there are other girls who just, they're not having it, like, and for whatever reason they have, but like they're just not super into the maintenance of it all, and so they just kind of go with the flow and let nature take its course.
Yeah, I
right.
guess so.
That's kind of what you mean.
And they seem to like really celebrate letting themselves go. And I know it sounds really terrible. It sounds mean, but I mean they do. They're very proud of. They're saying like the fatter you are, the more beautiful you are, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the whole body positivity movement and things like that.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is definitely.
Sounds like they clash.
I mean, they
I don't know how a
definitely
woman
do.
would deal with that.
No, they do, and so
Yeah.
it's really hard. Like, and I will be the first to admit that I'm caught in the crossfires of all of that. So, I mean, I had my nails done. I just got fresh mani-pedi like yesterday. My nails and my toes match. Like I said earlier, I'm very vain. Like, I care a lot about my appearance, a lot of because of how I was raised. And like, I'm not a small girl. I'm short and stout, but I mean, I'm working on obviously like leaning out and losing some weight for me. But I think that's it's been kind of hard because I have had to like sit down and accept that like I am who I am right now, and I'm not typically like the ideal kind of societal standard of beauty, and I'm okay with that. So I think from a man's perspective, it can look a lot like, oh, you're just letting yourself go. And I understand that because it's like...
I'm an asshole, by the way.
No, you're not. You're definitely not an asshole. It's definitely like that male versus female gaze. Like, I can look at myself, or I can look at a girl bigger than me or smaller than me or anything in between, and I can look at her and go, are you happy with yourself? And like genuinely think that she's beautiful because I'm looking at her through like my female brain versus like you guys looking at somebody who you don't typically find like conventionally attractive and just be like, it's easy to say like, oh, you kind of let yourself go. But I don't think it's so much that. I think it's just the pressure that has been put on women, and I speak specifically for me from like a Hispanic point of view. Like it was always such a pressure to look good and to be skinny and to like make your family proud, I guess, kind of, or like make it was never really about me, you know, and how I felt about myself and how I felt about my body. It was about how other people saw me and how that would reflect on my family or my future husband or my kids, or, you know, I don't have kids, but
When you lost the 40 pounds last year, I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
Were you doing it for them, or were you doing it for yourself?
I think I was definitely doing it for them, and I think that's why
you gained it back so quickly?
Yeah, I think that's why it was so easy for me to like gain it all back. So definitely now I'm on a journey of like doing it for me, and it is really hard because like the dating scene is like super hard right now, and like this is like, I'm gonna open up a little bit, but like for me, looking at like from a male point of view, because I'm very much the girl that people will fuck, but not typically the girl that like gets the guy. And I don't think it's because I'm ugly. I do think that I'm pretty. Like, I think I have a pretty face, but I think it's because I'm fat and like because I'm bigger than people are proud to show off. You know what I mean? So,
Gotcha.
so it's easy to kind of get caught up in that thought process for me and be like, okay, well, if I ever want to get married, if I ever want to have a happy relationship, then I need to lose this weight. But I'm coming to realize that like that's just not the case, because there are men, and not typically, it's just, again, me being picky, like there are men that like, forgive my French, they would suck a jelly bean out of my asshole if I asked them to, and whatever flavor I wanted to at this size and bigger, you know. And they do anything that I wanted them to. But it was one of my friends, Ethan, he actually kind of put it in perspective for me and said like, maybe you're just not your type's type, which...
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, which, I mean, didn't hurt my feelings, but kind of hit home a little bit, because I was like, okay, well, then I definitely need to work on being my type's type. Because admittedly, like, I'm very...
Oh, I took that advice terribly then.
What do you mean?
I took it as like, get a different type.
Yeah, get a different type.
No, hell no. I can't, like...
Yeah, I took the advice completely wrong, but yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
and I mean, I think, like I said, like, again, like that male versus female perspective,
right.
I think that might have been what he meant. Like, you need to focus on somebody else. But, like...
But that's not you.
Yeah, that's not me. That's
Yeah.
definitely not what I want. I want what I want. I'm very hard-headed, very stubborn. And so I'm going to have the man of my dreams one day. And if I don't, then I'm going to live my life on my own, and I'm going to be happy. But, yeah, I am very, like... anything that I expect out of a partner, I also expect out of myself. And so when he said that, like, maybe you're not your type, it really hit home because, like, I expect somebody who's financially stable, who has something going for them, who is intellectually stimulating, who is more or less fit, which I'm not quite fit yet, but I will get there. Working on being more financially stable, the intellectual and, like, other stuff, like, all of those things that I expect out of a partner, I want to be able to put forward. And I definitely, looking in the mirror and reflecting on those types of things, I'm not there yet. So I'm definitely not my type because I'm not even up to my own standards. So how can I expect somebody to come to me at that high of a standard and be like, you're what I want. This is exactly what I want. Because
I appreciate that. I feel like a lot of women tend to have this kind of perspective that they know they can get a man no matter what they, or like pretty much, and it's true, like for women, most women, I would say probably all women, they could throw themselves out there, and for sure there's going to be a guy that's might not be the guy you want,
right,
there's going to be a guy at least, or a few guys that are going to want to be with you. And where was I going with
the
this?
jelly beans?
Oh, what were we talking about? I had a straight, and then I was like, man, that Red Bull looks really good. I need to finish that. Oh man. Oh god.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Where were we at?
So, oh god, I lost my train of thought too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
no,
That's right.
type, yeah.
So I feel like some women, they feel like because of that, they don't need to. They don't need to
better themselves. Right?
Better themselves.
Yeah.
That they're already just good enough.
Someone will take me as I am.
Basically. Yeah, and I mean, and that's definitely not a bad mindset to have. Like, and I think that kind of intertwines back to like the whole where we started with the high maintenance girls versus the girls that are just kind of letting nature do their thing. Because, period, like even looking at you guys, like talking to you guys, not even just females, I think males too need to kind of come to terms with like who you are and what you bring to the table. And if you're not willing to work on yourself and improve yourself, then that's fine. If you love yourself as is, great. You should be happy where you are, and you should learn to love yourself as you are. But if you're expecting more than what you're getting, you need to do something different. And then at that point, I think it's when like kind of the growth comes in and the maintenance and things like that. That like me, like I said, I'm not my type, but it's because I have these very high standards that I myself am not meeting. So if I look at myself in the mirror and go, I wouldn't date myself, then how would I expect my type to be like, oh yeah, like I definitely want to be with you. So that's how I know that like I definitely need to grow in some areas, and I'm willing to do that, not because I don't love myself, but because I do. I know what my standards are, and I know what I want out of a man and out of a relationship and out of life, and I am not the girl that's going to get those things right now. Like, do I have the potential to be? 1,000%. I have faith in myself. I know I can do it. But the girl that I've been the past 2 or 3 years, definitely not that girl. A little bit lazy, a little bit, not really wanting to push myself, not wanting to try new experiences because I was scared. I was scared that, like, if I tried so hard and, like, worked on myself and still didn't get what I wanted, then I was a failure, But I think I've definitely come to the realization that just as long as I'm working on myself and improving myself and doing it for me and not necessarily for the life or the man that I want, then it's all going to work out. Because like I said earlier, when I get to the point to where I want to be and to be the person that I want to be in the body that I want to be in, then I'll know that like if I'm still not attracting the people that I want, then there might be something else that I need to change. But if at that point I've already been doing all this work and I've already loved myself through every single stage, all the downs, all the ups, all of it, then nothing's going to shake me and my confidence to just continue growing or stop where I'm at because I'm happy, and I definitely think that's something that like men and women both could adopt, because there are those women that are like comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're comfortable, stay in your comfort zone. But if you're not, then change, move. We're not statues. Did I ramble?
No.
Okay.
No. Do you feel like maybe some people need to hear that, where it's like like, you need to work. Like, I know people don't want to be, and we've gone to a place in our society where we're afraid to really confront or hurt other people's feelings.
Yeah.
I feel like it. Like you said comfortable a few times, and I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
bash you on it or say that you said it 50 times.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's kind of like a reflection of what's going on in our society right now. Is we're too scared to kind of confront people and say, hey, dude, you need to stop that. Or
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a good way to put that is, I mean, yeah, some people are comfortable, but at the same time, some people are scared to confront, the boundaries that we have or other people have out of fear of hurting each other's feelings. And so, yeah, I definitely do think that it's important to have people in your life that can look at you and go, this ain't it, friend. Like, you need to get your shit together and move forward. But I also do think that like with that same token, there's a way to do it,
Right.
So, one of my best friends, for example, like I love her to death. And she has been having a lot of issues like with her boyfriend, which everybody has like their own issues or whatever, but she's crazy jealous. Like he liked a girl's picture on Facebook, I want to say.
Can I say that I kind of like that a little bit?
Yeah, no, okay, so, and that's cool. That's totally cool. I know.
I know a
The
lot of people say
toxicas
that.
a little bit, yeah.
What is it? What is that type that they say? The jealous type, right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what- A lot of people say that that's like a terrible type, but
Yeah.
I guess sometimes some people dig it. I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I dig that too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I definitely am into that in a man a little bit, for him to be a little bit possessive,
yeah.
and be like, "What's mine is mine,"
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that in a man, and I can appreciate that men appreciate that in a woman. But like,
This one's a little.
she is crazy, and there's nothing wrong with that because I love her, and I said boyfriend, but they're married.
Oh, okay.
And he loves her. Obviously, he loves her for it regardless. But, man, she told me, she was like, I was breaking shit and I was throwing shit. And I printed a picture of her out and put it on his bed since he likes her so much. Like, I was like, bro. Like, and in my mind, I'm like, because I would never do that. Like, I could never do that. To me, that's extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But to her, that's like every day. Like, everyday life. And so I didn't tell her, and I probably should have to have been like, you're going to push him away. But then again, like, you put in perspective that some men like that. Some of them are into that. So, I mean, it's not my decision to say whether or not she should or shouldn't do that. But if it was something that I really, really thought would affect her relationship in a negative way, which obviously I didn't because I didn't tell her anything, then I would have been like, hey, bro, like, you need to reel it in a little bit. Like, chill out. But like I said, I know he likes that. I know that, like, that's kind of their dynamic. So I didn't say that, but but yeah, it's definitely good to have people that kind of check you every once in a while because, like I said, if I'm going to say it again, comfortable. Like, if you're comfortable where you're at, cool. Like, if we were friends and you were, doing your podcast, doing whatever you do outside of it, and you were happy and thriving and doing what you wanted to do, then I'd be like, okay, friend, like, cool, like, keep doing what you're doing. But if I saw that you were unhappy and maybe yearning to do something else and complaining about it all the time, then I definitely tell you, like, hey, you need to do something different. Like, you're bored, you're sad, you're whatever, but, like, we need to sit down and have this conversation to say that you're not happy, and I can see that you're not happy, but you're not happy because, like, your suffering is your own fault.
Have you had those moments with your friends a lot? Because have we done anything like that?
Therapist Jazmin.
Maybe once. Yeah.
Therapist Jazmin, let's start right now.
We were
It was a drunk crying. One of
Oh,
those.
that one, yeah. Okay, we did it once. And it was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, that's all.
That's the last
It's
time
cool.
we'll ever do it.
Well, I mean, it's cool to hear
Just
that
kidding.
though, like from men, because I feel
Yeah.
like I do have a lot of guy friends, a lot of girlfriends. So you don't typically hear that from men. Like, it's really hard to get my guy friends to open up to us as women, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But we definitely don't hear the conversations that men have behind closed doors. So I always kind of wonder, like, if y'all do that. But I mean, I always kind of assumed that it didn't really happen because men are just more closed off in general.
We are, but I would say that when it comes to like more serious things, we'll probably open up a little bit more, but only
Yeah.
with like our actual friends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I can be cool with any dude. I can talk to any guy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like most guys, if they don't know you, they feel like if you show anything that's a little serious, a little touchy for you, it's 100% time to clown on that guy.
Yeah, it
And
makes
that's
you a
how,
target.
That's how
like,
we are. That's how. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's
Yeah.
just our basic instinct, and that's probably why you feel that way with guys.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that because there are people that make your vulnerabilities like your target. You know, you become a target when you open up sometimes to some people, and so even if it's one person out of 1,000, that one person can definitely like make or break you. You know, to ever want to do that again. So I understand that completely. But yeah, no, me and my friends, we do it all the time. Maybe not all of my friends, but my best friend Cassidy. Cassidy, I love you so much.
I like the name.
She's gonna watch it, so she better watch it, or I'm gonna beat her. Yeah, we do that. We do it all the time. Anytime we get to hang out, we kind of sit down and have these hard conversations. And definitely not gonna put her business out there, but this past year has been brutal on our relationship. She lost someone who was really, really important to her, and the person who came in and filled that position wasn't necessarily that I didn't agree with that person, but I didn't agree with the way that it kind of played out. And so she and I have had to sit down and have a lot of really hard conversations. Like, I cut her off, like, completely, was ready to just be done with her. And this is somebody who's been my best friend for 7 years. But when that happened, I was just ready to be like, I'm done. Like, don't talk to me, don't call me. But she did reach out a lot, and I'm thankful that she did, because like I said, I wasn't gonna reach out. I'm not that person. When I'm done with you, I'm done. Well, because I give chances, you know, I give lots of chances.
Do you go on a three strike system, or what do you do?
Not really. I mean, I think I'm a communicator, and so definitely I can work through anything with you. I don't care how many times you fucked up, but if you're not lying to me and if you're not ignoring me, then we can have a conversation and we can work through almost anything. So like I said, at that point in time, this was probably early last year, I was just not having it. I was done because I felt like she was lying to me about the situation that was happening. And like I said, she kept reaching out and kept reaching out and kept reaching out. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, she wants to communicate with me. She wants to talk. I guess let's give it a shot. And so yeah, we sat down, we talked, and we kind of mended things. And it's, again, like, still just kind of been like this long process of like getting back to where we were. But I think we're finally at that point because we've had those hard conversations, and I've sat down and told her, this is where I think that you fucked up. And she's come back at me and said, I understand that, but you need to not be making this like all about yourself. You know what I mean? Like, because I was taking a lot of my own feelings into account, and I wasn't being a very good friend. And she wasn't like blasting it in my face, but she was definitely telling me where like I wasn't seeing the full picture about like how she was feeling, and where I could maybe like change my view of the situation to kind of understand and move forward. And we definitely did that, and we're in a better place than ever. So yeah.
Shout out Cassidy.
Shout out Cassidy. We love you so much.
We
love
do.
You. Yeah, see. Patrick, tell her you love her.
Shout out Cassidy.
Yeah.
I was drinking water,
No,
sorry.
I can relate. I mean, I think what you said. I mean, that stuff is unpredictable. You just it sucks too. I mean, then again, it's not like if it was predictable, it would be even better. It'd probably be even worse.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that person not gonna be here next year.
Yeah, but see, and like that's kind of how, like, not how I am, not like predictable like that, but like I said, like I am completely, at every point in time, I am always ready to never speak to you again. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what position you play in my life. I'm always ready for that. Cause like, so, and I've told everybody, and it sounds kind of shitty, but like, maybe just because, like I said, like my mom passed away at a very early age. My dad like abandoned me. So like the two most incremental people in my life I've lost. And then obviously with COVID times, I've lost a lot of people that I really cared about, that I thought were going to be here for a long time. And so the kind of motto that I live by is just like, people are temporary. So love who you can, while you can, as much as you can. Because I mean, we could be all best friends right here, right now, and walking out the door, somebody could come, God forbid, but, shoot up the place or something like that. Or we could have a dispute and you could lie to me and I could say, all right, I'm done. I'm not gonna, I don't have to put up with that type of energy in my life, and I'm not going to.
She likes pineapples on her pizza.
Upside down pineapples. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not a swinger. I'm not a swinger.
What? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you don't know that?
No, I didn't.
That's
I was
the-
like,
that's the symbol for
pineapples are
swingers.
upside down?
Yeah, that's like the symbol for like swingers. So if you're out in public or like on a cruise or something and you have like upside down pineapples, like that's like to signal people like, hey, I'm a swinger. I'm down with that.
Upside
Down
down.
a
Like you
clown.
just turn it up
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
on
on
the
the crown.
leaves.
yeah.
Mhm.
The leaves are facing down.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it's called a crown.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, so many missed opportunities.
I
Just-
know. Damn it. Where were we at?
But no pineapple on pizza now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Yeah?
pineapple on
Okay.
pizza. Definitely. I'm very into the sweet and savory. That's
Same here. Same here. I just
Yeah.
don't like the ham.
the ham.
I
You don't like
the
it?
ham. Yeah.
See, I do. I like
Yeah.
it.
I think
like
it
it.
just
I think it
tastes weird
depends on
pizza.
who, like where you get it from. Because
Mm-hmm.
like Pizza Hut used to do like the little like triangle pieces of ham on their pizzas.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they had like little. It was Canadian bacon ham. So it's
Oh,
ham.
no, I get you, I get
But yeah,
you.
little triangle pieces, and those were like so good. But now they do like these weird ham chunks, and it looks like Spam almost. And I love Spam. I love a good like Spam and eggs, but now it's like these weird like ham chunks, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like very processed, very gross.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I don't like it, because I get mine from Domino's and they do that, and
Yeah, I
every
don't
time
like that.
my family loves it.
Yeah.
And they think I love it.
No.
I'm like, man.
No, yes, but pineapple on
Freaking
pizza
ham.
definitely. Do you like honey garlic chicken, honey garlic anything?
Honey garlic? I don't think I've ever had it.
Oh, it's so good. Patrick's like absolutely fucking
I'm
not.
very basic.
But what do you like?
Dude, he doesn't like, you don't like vegetables on your pizza, on your burger.
I like lettuce and I don't like tomatoes and onions.
Yeah.
I don't like tomatoes and onions either.
Dude, tomatoes and onions are my best friends.
See, not on a burger though. Like I like tomatoes when they're not tomatoes. Like
Ketchup.
yeah,
That
yeah,
big old bottle of ketchup.
exactly.
You gotta see
like
the
this
size of this.
big.
Yeah, it's larger
Pause.
than
You
a
want me to get
gallon.
it? Can I get it? Is that like a thing? You're like no.
Let it exist in her head.
Okay.
It's far bigger. It's the size of
This
her.
big.
It's bigger than her. She carries it.
Yeah, both hands.
I look like this. Yeah.
Yeah, like sautéed tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
like if you chop them up and like put them in like Spanish rice
Spaghetti,
and things like that.
maybe?
Spaghetti, yes, marinara sauce definitely. But I have a big sweet tooth, so that's probably why. Like all the sugar and like
Yeah.
marinara and like, well, actually not marinara, because if you get a good marinara sauce, the sugar comes from carrots. Little
Oh, yeah,
tidbit.
yeah.
But ketchup is definitely very much just all sugar. But yeah, I like vegetables like tomatoes and onions and everything else cooked. I don't like them raw, so I can't put them in a burger. It's very, very
Like
different.
onion rings.
I don't like onion rings. I don't like the texture of onion rings.
All my friends don't like onions.
But they're sweet.
No,
All my friends don't like onions, and I yeah,
see,
I hate y'all for that.
I don't hate me. I like onions. Okay, just not raw onions. They're
Damn,
sautéed onions.
I go hard on
I get down.
onions.
Yeah,
I have to brush
smell
my
it.
teeth a lot. Yeah, you're the one that bought me the burrito.
just kidding. I don't think there's onions in it. Did they put onions?
Nah,
Oh, okay. I was like, they messed it up. But I get very upset. I'm passionate.
I'm very into tomatoes, and I thank my mother for that, because she says that they told me that tomatoes are good for men,
Why?
because it's good for our prostate or something like that.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I've been eating tomatoes ever since I was a little kid, because my family was like, yeah, they're good for you, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's kind of like like carrots for girls. I loved carrots for the
true?
longest time because like they say that like, well, not that like they're good for the downstairs, but they used to tell me that like if you ate enough carrots, your boobs would grow. And I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they're good for
Eat
vision.
carrots, ladies.
High in vitamin C.
Is there a lot of those? I feel like there's a lot of them.
Pause.
For-
I want to
for-
say
for-
something.
for-
High in vitamin C. High in vitamin cheese. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, continue.
But I feel like there's a lot of things for women like that. Because I was, I don't know what I was searching. I was searching something random, and then Google plus like it was a fruit or a vegetable, something like that. And one of the searches was like, is it good for increasing breast size? I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. So, I think I drink a lot of teas. Like I said, like super into nutrition or whatever. But I do drink a lot of teas, and there's a lot of herbs and teas and things like that aren't necessarily good for like increasing breast size, but definitely good for like your hormones and things like that. So like I have a tea in there. It's actually called Mother's Milk, and I don't drink it, but it's like fennel and fenugreek, and they're two herbs that like help nursing women like lactate. So obviously that would make your boobs grow while you're pregnant or whatever, because it helps in the milk production and things like that. So like that's one way to think of it, but definitely there's lots of other herbs and vegetables and things like that just help all the good things, know?
Is it just me, or do some women keep their big breasts from when they get pregnant? Like, I feel like some of them is like, that was just a blessing for them. Like,
yeah, definitely.
No, you don't.
It's like, no. So I've never had kids. I do know a lot of people that like have had kids, but like from personal experience, like I couldn't tell you. I do know that a lot of like my friends complain that if they did breastfeed, that afterwards, like when the milk dries up, that they kind of like sag a little bit. So they don't like that. But I don't really know about women who didn't breastfeed, but I could see that kind of, at least before the milk dries up, because there are some women that just don't breastfeed, so their boobs just get huge because they produce all this milk, but it doesn't.
Oh shit! It just stays in there.
Eventually it dries up.
Oh, okay.
But like, it might take a little while. So if it doesn't, then yeah, the men are going to get the benefits of these big,
anything. I'll talk about anything. I'm interested in everything. I don't care what.
Same.
But yeah.
Same.
We can go on a 30-minute tangent of breasts, and I'm down. Well, obviously, breasts is gonna be an obvious for guys.
Oh yeah. Girls too. I mean, girls like me. Yeah, I like the boobs.
When young girls are growing up, do y'all get jealous of the one that like goes above and beyond everybody else? Kind of like, damn it,
that has the bigger boobs.
Damn it, it's like, why does Elizabeth have like 3 times more than I do?
Yes, definitely. Like, yeah, definitely. I mean, I did personally, and I feel like.
Is this a good subject, Pat? You're just kind of shaking your head a little.
No, we're good. Keep going.
I can't speak for like everybody, but like it is very much like, there's like that toxic jealousy dynamic with like within like girls, especially. So I do feel like I was the girl who developed like very young, and so I did get a lot of hate for that in middle school and stuff like that. Like people calling me a slut when we were in like the 5th grade, like all this stuff, because like I had like an 8.5 cup, like, so yeah, I do definitely think that jealousy happens because again, like I was on the other end of that a little bit in high school because I had this best friend who like just freaking massive, like, and she's beautiful.
Shout out Cassidy.
No. It wasn't Cassidy. Shout out Brianna. Her name's Brianna. But I think your phone. But yeah, I would look at her and be like, damn, like, I wish my boobs were that big. At that point in time, I definitely felt a little bit of like, not necessarily like jealousy, but like just a little bit envious, that like I wish I could have boobs like that. But now that we're older and she tells me all the problems that she has, like back problems and back pain, and I'm like, girl, I would take them just to help you out a little bit. I'm so sorry for ever being like, ugh.
We know a few that, I mean, I can't say the names, but I think, was there like 2 of them?
Oh, they had to get surgery?
They had to get reduction?
Yeah. And I think I don't think she's had a breast reduction, but I think she's thought about it. But I know a lot of girls who like go through and like have a breast reduction just because it hurts. It's painful for them. Again, imagine. Like not a personal experience, but it's crazy. And then there's like not really. So this girl particularly, she has like really big boobs, but she's not a big girl. Like she has a small frame. And so carrying around the weight of like, 50 pounds of chiche, like it's gonna cause problems. And there's not really bras and like clothes and things like that support big boobs like that on a small person. Yeah, because people typically think like big boobs, big ass, like just big girl in general. But the clothing.
I got a question for that later.
Yeah. But like the clothing market for big girls too, like it's outrageous. There's so many different body types. Like it's so standardized and at the same time not standardized that it's just so hard to find clothes that help support you and your body in any size. So
women are so dynamic. Like y'all just come in like squares, circles, and stars.
Yeah, I mean, so do men. Like, so do y'all.
I guess, but it's a little easier.
That makes me think of like Maggie on The Simpsons when she's in that little like star suit. I always wanted one of those. So
I get you. Love it. Man, the show's not that good anymore. At least I don't think so.
The Simpsons, the new ones. I haven't really watched the new ones, but we have Disney Plus. They have all the old Simpsons, all of them.
He's not
every
a fan
single-
of Disney.
You're not a fan of Disney?
Yeah,
Why?
We've been on that 8 times already.
Have we?
Yeah.
I think they're massive hypocrites.
Why?
I think. The two big examples I can think of is the one with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't watch Star Wars, but the black guy, they reduced them to tiny in China, and they're all about equal rights. So it's, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
All right, sure. And then the big one is, I'm big on China, and they have concentration camps over there, and they recorded Mulan in those, like, around the concentration
No, they
camp.
didn't.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So I'm
That's
just like,
crazy.
fuck y'all.
I mean, I understand that. Like,
Yeah.
I can feel that. Like, definitely. God, I gotta quit saying like.
But I don't impose it on anyone. I mean, my friends, they're huge
Yeah.
into Marvel, and I hate it, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I mean, I can't, that's their life. I can't ruin their life. I just
Yeah, I
stand
think
for what I got to stand for.
Yeah, for sure. And good for you to like stand your ground and like be firm.
And then Marvel movies are kind of trash.
And then
now.
I still took it on Doctor Strange.
I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
No, it was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, that was my
Nah.
only exception. Spider-Man is just a weak spot for me.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, me too.
massive
Who's
weak
your
spot.
favorite Spider-Man?
Oh,
And this I will judge you for.
all right. So 1970 Spider-Man, the show. That's
The
my
show?
favorite Spider-Man.
Not like you don't have like a person. Like who's
Miles
the person?
Morales or
I forgot his name.
what's the
The
other one?
actor.
2099. Oh,
it's a
the actor.
1970s show.
No, like who's your favorite actor? Like who's your favorite
He is
Spider-Man?
an actor. The show
The
I'm
show
not-
from
what?
the 70s.
I don't think I've
got
ever
you.
seen it.
I got you.
came out in 1970s. So show you. You're gonna love the intro.
So
Look-
you don't have like a favorite like Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire,
Japanese Spider-Man.
whoever the new one is.
Well,
Tom.
he has a
Who's your
name.
favorite?
I forget his name.
Japanese Spider-Man. I've never heard of.
Oh, Japanese Spider-Man is dope. He has a Megazord.
I'm a Toby fan. Sorry, a Megazord.
Yeah.
What? What is that?
Oh, you never saw Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Okay, so Power Rangers have a Megazord. They have a giant robot.
Oh yeah.
Japanese Spider-Man has a,
The one that they
giant
like.
robot.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yes.
That's
It's so
amazing.
dumb, but
What-
it's amazing.
What Power Ranger did you always want to be? Because we know everybody always wanted to be a Power Ranger.
So I had two favorites. I always wanted to be the Green Ranger. Can you play the?
He looks like the Green Goblin in a Spider-Man uniform.
I'm guessing that's a terrible shot of
ter-
him. But you got to listen to the.
Nicholas Hammond,
Yeah,
1979.
there you go.
Oh, okay.
79, not 60. Okay. Well, I said 70s, right? I said
Yeah,
70s.
70s.
Okay. But yeah, so I wanted to be two Power Rangers.
Okay.
So I always liked the Green Ranger, but in the beginning I wanted to be the Red Ranger, but then I wanted to be the Green Ranger because he was with Kimberly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be with Kimberly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Patrick?
The
Oh, Dreamcast. My bad.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. What was your favorite?
He's so dreamy. You're so dreamy, Pat.
I did just get a haircut, but anyway.
Let me see.
During the break.
So what Power Ranger?
Okay, let me see. The original?
Sure. Yeah.
Just what color? That's all we know.
Oh yeah.
The black one.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Although later on the Yellow Ranger became the hot one.
Yes. Okay. So I always wanted to be the Pink Ranger because like she was to me like the leader of like the girls, and like that's just me. I'm Blossom. I'm Beyonce. I'm the leader always. So definitely the Pink Ranger. But
Mad respect for shouting out Blossom, by the way.
yes, I love
Damn.
her. Powerpuff Girls, team gang. But definitely, like you said, like the Yellow Ranger, I feel like became more popular. So and yellow is my favorite color, so I wanted to be her then later on. But again, that just falls into like the what I was telling you guys earlier, that like I always wanted to be like the HBIC, like
Gotcha.
the Regina George, and so whoever that was, that's who I wanted to be.
Was your color always favorite color yellow?
Yes and no. Growing up, my favorite color was blue because it was my mom's favorite color. But as I like developed my own personality and quit like following the trends, and it was yellow. I was like, definitely yellow. I love it.
Yeah, my color, my favorite color changed from blue to green.
Green.
Yeah, I'm
Green's a
big
good color.
green dude.
Yeah. Do you like Odie green,
I like my favorite shade of green is like the dark green.
like a hunter green.
Yeah, like a forest.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
It goes hard.
Yes, it does for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
especially when you're all.
I had green hair one time. It was like an emerald green. It was really
What,
pretty.
dude? Oh, green hair was everywhere for a while.
It's
Whoa.
coming back.
It
It
is.
is.
Man,
Yeah.
I
You
don't know
like
how to.
it?
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like a lot of the big trends, I don't know. They're so out there now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I try to be cool and like that's dope. But something inside in my head, I'm like,
That's kind of too much.
that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I feel that. See, I love the.
Oh no!
I was
He's
like,
just telling me we're gonna take a break in
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit.
I love all the out there trends, but I don't know. Like I'm very like free flowy kind of go with one. I'm an Aquarius, so.
What's
if
the
that
most
says
out
anything.
there trend that you hopped on? And then we'll do a break after when you're done.
Okay. The most out there trend that I've hopped on, like, I don't know. Like I don't.
Vaping?
No. Okay, maybe hookah. That's like
okay.
the bad girl thing that I've ever done. But probably definitely the green hair. Like I was
Okay.
very much in the colored hair phase. So I had green hair, blue hair, pink or not blue, green hair, red hair, orange hair, pink hair,
Ooh, red
all
hair.
of that. Yeah.
Red hair hits hard,
Yeah.
especially fake red hair.
Yeah. I
I don't know
I went
why.
through my red hair
I
phase.
don't know
You guys,
why.
I'm done with
I don't
that.
know why fake red hair hits harder than real red hair.
See, okay.
I feel bad for the redheads.
Why?
When I hear that?
No.
Because they're like, damn, we're second class to what we're best at.
No, gingers are. So when I introduced myself in my college classes, or like any non-professional setting, if like they're like, okay, stand up and introduce yourself. This is literally, I'd say, hi, my name is Jazmin, like the princess. And my favorite color is yellow because it makes me happy and I like to make people happy. And I think that gingers are the most beautiful people on the planet because I do.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
so, love them.
Oh yeah, redheads
So-
are hot.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But second class to like fake red hair?
Yeah,
No.
I don't know. Fake red hair hits harder for me than actual. real
Maybe it's
red
just
hair.
the vibrance of it.
Yeah,
and like,
it's just so
it's
not.
the red
yeah,
flag
it's
of it
just-
all. Like a bull.
She just looks like a problem.
You
in
like the
future.
crazy girls. Man.
Maybe I do like bitchy women. I
Yeah.
do. I like that attitude. I didn't know until I had finally dated one. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, she's driving me insane, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe not a bitch, but definitely like
Yeah, that's
strong-willed.
a terrible word.
A strong-willed woman.
Yeah, it's a terrible
definitely.
word. I know people don't like that word anymore.
No,
but
I mean, not definitely not to complain, but
Yeah.
I definitely think of more like just like the strong-willed woman versus like a bitch because I don't like girls that are bitches either. Like,
Yeah.
if you're being mean just to be mean, that's ugly.
yeah, there's a balance to it.
But if you're standing your ground and like just being true to yourself and like these are my boundaries and this is what I want, like a little bit spoiled, you know? Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, maybe spoiled is a better. Well, I don't know. That's a bad word though.
Yeah?
Spoiled is a bad word.
Why?
I don't know.
I like
it's-
that word.
it's-
Like if somebody's like you're a spoiled brat, I'm like hell yeah.
It just feels like if I were to tell if I was dating somebody and I was like cool with them being spoiled, that maybe they would take it to an extreme. Like eventually it would get to an extreme where it'd be a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like an expectation out of
I'm
you
a
then.
very pessimistic person, so
Yeah, well,
I'm
that's
like,
okay.
yeah, I'm like,
It's a
damn,
balance.
you know.
Pause. So before we take a break, let me ask you.
What's up?
So you said you like crazy women. Do you watch like WWE at all?
No, I do not. No,
Man. Okay, so you need to look up. I don't know her last name, but
my friends hate me for that.
no.
I hate-
So you do.
No.
No?
Our other friends.
Okay,
our
so you
other
need to
friends.
look up Alexa, Paige, and AJ. Those are.
I feel like I've heard the Alexa before.
Yeah,
But maybe
she's-
it's just Alexis Texas that I'm thinking.
Oh, maybe her. Yeah, definitely. What's her name? Lana Rhodes. Shut up.
She's the one that retired, right? And
Did she retire?
She had a baby, right?
I think she retired or something like
How
that.
do you get pregnant doing porn? That's illegal or
I
something.
thought-
It should be illegal.
I thought it would be the most obvious thing to
I mean,
happen.
yeah, that's what my Doug. Oh my God, my boss. He asks any woman that comes in and is pregnant. He's like, "How did that happen?" Beet red every time. But-
All right. Well, we'll be right back. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll. How far did we get into?
We're at an hour,
Oh yeah, so we'll do another.
30
cool, cool,
minutes.
All
or
right,
so.
we'll be right back.
We'll be back.
Sweet. Bye. This is Princess Jazmin Genevieve, and we are back with the Yellow City Kids podcast and some ASMRs.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, and we are ready to talk about. I actually wanted to talk about your dispatching days.
Yeah.
He kind of wanted to talk about your whole journey. I guess we can do
A
that.
quick
Yeah.
thing from
Oh,
how did you
man.
end up from commercial music into
Man.
a peanut farm?
Because I was scared, because I'm scared to chase my dreams. That's really the short of it. Like, I'm scared to fail. I don't think that I'm talented enough to not also be conventionally pretty, but I'm not conventionally pretty enough to not also be like a star, like Bethany, like that kind of powerhouse voice. I just don't feel like I have enough of both to like really make it, which I'm starting to learn now is probably not very true, because it's like a very niche, whatever. Like, you just find your people, right?
Mr.
So
Feeney, when he corrects
I love Boy Meets World. But yeah, so kind of quick rundown. I went from commercial music. I did commercial music as a vocalist, so I sang. And then I went into video production because I wanted to kind of be a little bit well-rounded, but I wasn't really interested in the sound aspect of it just because I wasn't very good at it. I didn't understand it. But I'm learning now that I probably should take a nosedive into that to at least get the basics so that I can like kind of produce my own things if I ever do want to pursue that. But so I went from that, and at that point I was working at CVS. And after I graduated, honestly, I just I gave up all of my dreams of like fame and performing and things like that, which has really kind of been hard on me because I'm such a creative. Like, I don't really think of myself as a singer or an actor or whatever. Like, I do everything, but I'm more of a performer. I like to be in the spotlight, obviously. But just definitely a performer, like not the creator, but if you need somebody to bring your vision to life, I'm that girl. But again, like, I've been really scared to pursue that because I didn't feel like I was good enough. But so I went to working like at CVS as a manager, and then from there I went to, I want to say I did like hospitality and like the hotel service industry for a little while. And then I went to, I don't know, there was like little filler jobs, but I worked in the jail in Lubbock at the county detention center.
Okay.
So I was like a clerk there. So I did like intake and like all the paperwork and things like that, to make sure that people got in. Like, we took pictures and did the fingerprinting and everything like that. And I really, really enjoyed that. I liked working with the inmates because like I'm a pretty bubbly personality, and I like to think that like I'm hard to not get along with. And that kind of reinforced that for me because I got along with everybody. There were very few inmates that I couldn't like handle. So I went from being a clerk to being an officer at the jail. So I was an officer for a little while, but man, that's just so hard. It's so hard for me to see people in there at their lowest and not be able to do anything about it. You know, I wanted to be a helper. I wanted to get these people out of a dark situation, or at least like be a little bit of a light, which I do think that I was, but I didn't feel like I was making a big enough impact on the people that I was working with. And I hated, not that I hated being the authority figure, but I hated to be the person that they looked to for answers that I couldn't give, you know. So
What kind of questions do you have?
well, so like, you know, not necessarily questions, but like just like needs. Like, you know, when you work in a detention center or like any kind of jail like that, the thing that they tell the officers is your job is care, custody, and control, right? So your job is to care for the inmates and make sure that their basic needs are met, keep them in custody and make sure that they're under control, you know, which resonated with me a lot at first because, like I said, I thought that meant something, that it was going to be impactful for me to do. And for some officers, it definitely is. But for me, it just wasn't enough to have these people here and just, I was just making sure they were getting fed. I was just making sure that their basic needs were met. But like, and I hate to say this, but like one of the things that really hit hard was that, you know, they would turn in like their, and I don't remember what they're called anymore. It's been so long. But they would turn in like paperwork for like that they felt sick, or, you know, that they were sad or whatever. But so then we would as officers would take those and turn them into like our nursing staff, our medical staff or whatever. And they would like review those and be like, oh, well, we'll call you in 2 or 3 days, or we'll call you whenever we're available, which granted, we were very understaffed. They still are very understaffed. But to have to sit there and watch these people suffer in like literally physical pain or like mental anguish. You know, I'm a very empathetic person, and I could tune into that a lot. And admittedly, and this is going to sound shitty of me, but like I said earlier, you're a product of your own, like, your suffering is your own fault sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it's definitely easy to say that about inmates, and I know that it's not true all the time, but, you know, to sit and watch these people that I knew were, like, a product of their own bullshit, but still, like, be empathetic towards the fact that, like, you're sad because you're away from your family, and you're in pain because, you know, you got beat up 3 weeks ago, and there really hasn't been much that we were able to do about it. To just have to sit and watch these people in their pain and misery was just too much mentally, emotionally for me. So,
So, like, some people would get beat up and they just throw them in there and no, they wouldn't get, like, at least a bag of ice or something?
No. I definitely don't want to put that picture out there. Like, no, yeah, they definitely would get, like, taken care of. Like, but again, like, it was just very basic. Like, if you're not dying or bleeding or, like, just...
They can wait.
Yeah, then it can wait.
Yeah.
And I hated that because I'm a very, like, immediately, like, Bob the Builder, I can fix it, you know? And I couldn't. I had to sit and wait for word from my higher-ups or word from the medical staff or word from whoever to be like, all right, send them, okay, they need this. But if I didn't agree with what they were doing, there still wasn't anything that I could do with it because as an officer, my only job was care, custody, and control. Make sure that they're under control, make sure that they stay in their cell when they, you know, as they need to be, make sure that they're not fighting, obviously, and make sure that they get 3 meals a day and that their clothes are washed or whatever, you know, like basic necessities. And like I said, it just took a big mental toll on me to have to sit there and be like, everybody always calls them like the babysitters. And I hate to say that because like a corrections officer's job is so much more than just being a babysitter. But I felt like in my power, I was just a babysitter. And I hated that. So I went back, I stepped down from my position as an officer and I went back to being a clerk to be able to do intake and things like that. So I could help people get in the jail, but didn't really have anything to do with them once they were in the cell. It just took a lot of weight off of me. But again, like I just didn't feel like I was doing enough. So I moved into, I applied and got a position with LPD for dispatch. And so I started working dispatch and man, I loved it. It was such a good job. And I've thought about going back, but, and God forgive me, it's all women that work down there with the exception of like 2 men. And the petty drama that comes with working in that facility was way too much to deal with on top of also like answering emergency calls and dispatching people and dispatching people to emergencies. Yeah, and like that sounds so shitty. Again, like I don't want to paint them in a bad light, but it's just.
I mean, people are gonna be people.
Yeah,
you just can't change that. You can't change people's nature.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a lot, and so like I definitely would have stayed on in dispatch, but again, like last year when I did leave, it was more of that mental emotional toll again. Like I sat behind the computer and like, yeah, I would answer the emergency calls and things like that. And when I felt like I was able to have people help them be heard in a dire moment when they're panicking. And sometimes it wasn't like a dire moment for me. Like maybe not something that I thought was a big deal, but it was a really big deal to the other person on the other side of the phone. That was really impactful for me to be able to be like, okay, like I'm going to help you. We're going to get somebody over there to you and they're going to help take care of your problems. But there's only so much that a police officer can do within their bounds. So being able to at least get somebody out there was like, okay, yeah, like I'm definitely helping these people a little bit. Or even if it was just simply calming their nerves for them to be able to speak clearly and not be yelling and crying like over the phone. I really enjoyed that part of it. But then you go to work radios and you go to actively dispatch. So the way that they work is like there's call takers who obviously answer the 911 calls, kind of self-explanatory. 911 and like non-emergency calls that come in. They answer those and put the calls in. Well, then those calls go to our primary dispatchers who, you know, read the calls and like look on our little maps and see who's available as far as officers go and dispatch officers to that location based on.
Is it like a live map? You can, they're constantly, you see the dots moving or whatever?
Yeah, most of the time. So they're supposed to have their like GPS in their unit on. So we go based on that and kind of like knowledge, like, you know, when you're dispatching for long enough, you can kind of keep up with like where people are. And obviously, like on the computer screen, we have lots of numbers and everything that tells you where everybody is. So there's call takers, primary dispatch, and then what we called was TLETs, which is I can't even think of it. Can I look it up?
Yeah.
It's just basically like the Texas system, like information system. It's, where is it? The Texas Law Enforcement Telecommunications System is what it's called. And so there's TLETs and inlets. So Texas Law Enforcement Telecommunication System and the National Law Enforcement Telecommunication Systems. And we're trained to be able to look for information and go through and input warrants and clear warrants and like do all this stuff on the radios. And so when you're at the radios, you are obviously on TLET. So if an officer keys up and calls and says, hey, I'm on a traffic stop, I need you to run so-and-so's name. This is black male, white male, you know, Hispanic male, female, whatever, date of birth, name, whatever. So we run that, let them know if they have like a warrant, which honestly was so like scary to me because it could very well be that you have an officer out on the street with a known criminal who is, you know, known to be like a felon, who may or may not be carrying a weapon, who may or may not have a history of assault on public officers. But you just never knew until you pulled that up. And if you missed that and you could very well be putting your officer in danger if you didn't tell them that or didn't relay that information. And so we have access to like all that information. And my thing about it was that I just felt like a scribe, you know, a glorified scribe, which again, like is not what these people are. There's so much more than that.
Right.
But in my heart, in my mind, like I was just kind of boxing myself into that's all I felt like I was doing. Like I wasn't doing enough. So if the officer was on a call and they called like emergency traffic, and all I could do was sit there and just type what was happening. I couldn't be there. I couldn't help these people. I couldn't help these men and women. And I have a lot of respect for police officers. And I know that some people aren't going to agree with that because they don't know the other side of it. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. And I understand that there are some instances where public service fails. I completely get that. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for those men and women because they're putting their lives on the line every day. And some people will say like, well, that's what they signed up for. No, they signed up to protect you and feed their families. Like that's what they signed up for. But they are also aware of the fact that like, yes, it kind of comes with the territory, you know, but that's not what they signed up for, to get, you know, possibly shot at, possibly run over, possibly whatever. But yeah, so as a dispatcher, it wasn't enough for me. I didn't think that sitting behind a computer screen and listening to these people tell me, oh, they're running, oh, they pulled out a gun, oh, she has a knife, oh, you know, there's a child out here who's alone and has been alone for 2 days and somebody just found him on the street. Because that happened a couple of times, that we had calls come in where there was a kid, you know, in their diaper, barefoot, walking around in the middle of an apartment complex. Nobody had seen them. Like, nobody had seen their parents. And then, like, officers go out and they find out that, like, this kid's been alone for 2 weeks and there hasn't been anybody there. Like, stuff like that happens. Lubbock is really bad, unfortunately. But I made the decision to, like, not be an officer, but I went and I tried out for the police academy, actually, because I was like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do public service, I want to do it. And again, dispatchers are great and they keep our officers safe, and there's no way that the police officers could do their job without the dispatchers. Right. But at the same time, for me, it just wasn't enough. So yeah, I tried out to be a police officer, but I didn't hit my run time. I missed it by like 7 seconds. So
are they pretty strict on, or what was it?
So they do like a series of like strength and endurance tests. But the run at the end of it all was like a 1.5 mile run, and I can't disclose.
Right.
I can't disclose like what time they want you to be at. but I had it disclosed to me before I went so that I could train for it. Which I shouldn't say that either, but I mean, I did. I won't say who told me, but I was told like what my run time should be. And I missed it by 7 seconds. And I was so frustrated because I walked some when I knew that I shouldn't have been walking, but I was just kind of cocky about it. But like, and so I missed my run time by like 7 seconds.
Damn.
And that's really depressing, but I'm going to go back.
Oh, so this is still...
It's still like a prospect, but and this is going to sound really shitty of me, but again, my vanity plays a lot into like who I am and what I do and why I do the things that I do. I don't want to have failed. I don't want to leave that having failed because of 7 seconds. So, once I get probably a little more physically fit, I know they don't do the run anymore. They changed it to like a 2,000 meter row or something like that. And they go based on your height, weight, and gender now. So it's a little bit different. But
You think that's safe? That sounds a little dangerous, no?
what do you mean?
It sounds like if you were to decrease a certain threshold in physicality, that you could be putting some officers in danger, because it is a physical job, right? You get in an altercation,
Yeah.
and they're running, or they're running after you.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
no. I understand that thought process, but I mean, I don't, only because you go through so much training in the academy. Like, that's what the academy is there to prepare you for, is to meet those like thresholds of physicality. Because if you don't, like, you can very easily be cut and be like, all right, bye. But I think it makes more sense to me to do it that way based on like height, weight, and like gender, because like, not to say that men are stronger than women or that women can't be just as strong as men, but if you can bench press 300 pounds and you're a 300-pound man, that's you pushing your body weight every day. If I was 150 pounds and you're asking me to bench press 300 pounds, there's no fucking way I'm ever going to do it. But that doesn't make me less capable of doing my job as an officer and, taking down people with like defensive tactics and things like that, and protecting the people that I'm meant to protect. It's just like, it's kind of like the education system. Like, it's not fair, I don't think, to ask a fish to climb up a tree. Like, it's never going to happen. Like, everybody has their own strengths, and I do think that there is a certain level of physicality that you should meet, but I don't think that my like good and bad traits should be based off of your good and bad traits, because you could be top tier cream of the crop, but I can still do the job. I just can't meet like your standard, I guess, if that makes sense.
I'm just seeing, I don't know. It sounds like it could be dangerous. I'm not saying it is.
No. Yeah, no, I definitely, and I understand that thought process. It's just, they were losing a lot of good and pretty qualified candidates to that run.
Damn.
Because admittedly, like, yeah, you get in a foot pursuit every once in a while. It happens. But nobody's going to be running from you for a mile and a half. Most of those people don't have the endurance to do that. Like, most people don't. Like, even me as, like, somebody who likes to work out and things like that, I don't have the endurance to run from somebody for a mile and a half. Like, I'm going to get tired.
Yeah.
But, so I do think that that's necessary, like, to be able to do those things. But I think it became a question of, like, endurance at that point. Like, it's the mile and a half run to me was just kind of redundant, like not necessary, versus like the row that is actively like, testing your endurance, but it's not as intensive. You know what I mean? Like, if you can pass this, like, and you have this type of endurance, that's cool. But you're probably going to need more upper body strength if you have to like jump a fence, or you have to like take somebody down, or, do whatever, versus you need to be able to run a mile and a half because you don't.
Do you think, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm just this way. On the other side, police officers who are already in the job, do you think there should be a standard? Yeah. Because I feel like some of them, they just let themselves go. And those guys are not, if you were to throw them back into the very beginning, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Didn't the state troopers do that, or they're proposing something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I do think that they're proposing to like do like the firefighters do that. They do like an annual test to make sure that everybody is still up to par for like where they started, to make sure that everybody is still able to do that job. So I agree wholeheartedly that, and I don't think that sounds bad at all. Like that should be a standard, because there are some officers who've been there for 20, 30 years who are complacent, who couldn't do that. Like, who couldn't, catch somebody in a foot pursuit. And not to say that, like, a lot of the times in a foot pursuit, you don't catch the person, but you know who they are. So eventually, like later on, they go and like arrest the person based on like investigations and things like that. But I think people assume that like when a foot pursuit happens or a chase happens, like even in a vehicle, that like that person is always caught. They're not. Sometimes they're not. Like if it's a foot pursuit, more likely than not, I would think that like, yeah, they would, but foot pursuits don't typically happen. Right. It's normally in a vehicle. If you're going to run from a cop, you better be running in a vehicle because probably they're going to be able to catch you. Like, because of like I said, all the intensive like physical training that they go through in the academy. But yeah, there are definitely those officers that are really complacent and couldn't chase me 3 feet from one end of this building to the other. And I don't think that that's okay because that does pose a risk to the general public and to the officers that they're partnered with that day. If they can't, if you can't protect me, you probably can't protect yourself. And like, that's just not okay. So I do agree that there should be some sort of standard and some sort of like, not necessarily like standardized testing, but like a bar that is set that you have to meet like every year, every few years to make sure that you're still on par with, even maybe not on par with these incoming people, but that you can still do your job effectively and you could still protect somebody if need be, not just sit in your vehicle, because there are bad cops that just do that. They're just there for the ride. Are cops paid enough? No. I don't think so either. I don't think so. Yeah, no. I don't know how much they make now, but like, can you look up the average? Average
and one in the city or rural?
I think because it changes. I mean, standard of living changes across. Let's just do it with Texas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it just depends. Like, not even just
but
in
it goes
the state,
by rank,
by county, by rank, by everything.
No, I mean, just go by average. I think that'll tell us enough. Like,
I don't want to say it.
Well,
I'll say it after the thing.
Okay.
Well, I have I have a friend who's a deputy in Gaines County, which is like Seagraves area, and he makes $23 an hour. See, exactly. That's. I mean, even
anywhere from 52 to 70K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that's
I mean, roughly, how much do people get paid in Cargill? About the same.
50 maybe. If you're, it's not as much.
No,
they went up to like 22 an hour now. Yeah. So maybe it's barely clearing 50K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my thing: is when you get paid, like, what is the amount that somebody? Because it is a dangerous job.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times, if you're even slightly intelligent, you're going to tell yourself, "Is this really worth it?"
Yeah.
Is $23 an hour worth me possibly not coming out of that house?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I
feel like that's more dangerous for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, from like a civilian perspective and from like somebody who is friends with and cares a lot about like, officers and things like that, like some of my best friends are police officers in Lubbock. And like I said, Gaines County, like I would lose my freaking mind if, something happened to him and he got hurt on the job for $23 an hour, dude. Are you serious? But I feel like people don't consider that. And this is just the humanitarian side of me thinking like, if somebody's willing to put their life on the line every single day for you for $23 an hour, don't you think that tells you a little bit about who they are as a person and that they're not in it just for the money? Yeah. Because some people will argue that like officers get paid way too much and they're just in it for the money. I promise you, no, they're not. Nobody that is in public service or emergency anything is in it for the money. They're in it.
Not with that pay.
Yeah, not with that. Like even like firefighters, like they don't get paid enough. EMTs don't get paid enough, like or EMS, like nobody that's in public service, dispatchers don't freaking get paid enough for the shit that we go through. Like it's not a thing. So the whole like I understood like the kind of defund the police from the perspective of investing in other things in the community, like, mental health and things like that. I get that, and not to say that we shouldn't be also investing in those types of things, but to take money from the police for me just wasn't like.
I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, I thought so too. Just because, like I said, like they're just not making enough. Yeah. Like and it's not that. And I don't speak about like LPD or anything like that, but just like overall, I feel like there are some resources in like any PD that like could be cut every once in a while, but not to take that money from those departments, but to put it and invest it into the people that are actively out on the streets and working and actively in the dispatch centers and working to get those people out on the streets home. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in like cutting funds to certain parts of like PDs, but investing it back into the people that are putting in the work and risking their lives for you and your community every single day, if that makes sense. So
It's a wild ride. I mean, it's crazy to think that there's an occupation. I mean, there's other occupations. I mean, you can talk about the military as well, where, you know, you could be seeing that person for the last time.
yeah. Yeah.
Legit. That's crazy.
Well, and my cousin, she's a Marine. Well, yeah, okay. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yeah, I think
so.
that's what it
She's
is.
a Marine, and she posted a status on Facebook the other day that was like, you know, it's crazy how people in the military are kind of conditioned to be okay with that. They're like, I could be going into this job, and I feel like the same for like PD people, like, or like police officers and law enforcement, corrections officers, anybody like that is in a job like that, like an authority position with people, with criminals, with the general public, anybody. But it's kind of an ingrained thing that like, this could be my last day here. This could be my last day on the job. I could die, and they're just okay with that. Like, it becomes like just kind of like a passive thing that like, okay, you know. But then when you get out of it and you're out of that kind of institutionalized whatever, you start to really think about it, and like, that's not actually okay, you know. But again, like, they're in these positions where they're being conditioned to know that. But if you ask somebody who is a family member to a Marine, or, you know, somebody, a friend or whatever, like, is it okay that, you know, that it might be the last time that you see them? Absolutely not. Like, those family members are going to go, no, it's not okay that that's a possibility. But the person doing the job is like, yeah, that's
crazy
fine.
mindset.
That's cool.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is crazy. But I mean, I guess that's just kind of the mindset you have to have, because if you're going into a battlefield and you're already scared,
Right,
you're putting yourself at danger, and you're putting your people in danger. Like, and I don't know. It really is. It's wild to think about stuff like that. It's just perspectives, you know.
Yeah.
It's different perspectives from different people, and I think that's a lot of the problem that society has today, is that we're so quick to, and I say we because I do it too, you know, we're not perfect as people, and it's really easy to just think of something or hear something that you don't agree with and completely shut down because of cognitive dissonance. You know, like, your brain is fighting these internalized ideas, and you may or may not understand why, but it's very quick and easy to just shut down and be like, no, I don't want to hear it, or I don't like that. But when you're able to keep an open mind and not necessarily even understand, but just receive the perspectives of different people and different cultures and different occupations and just a different mindset, I feel like that's a really big opportunity to be able to like grow. But it also creates a lot of, not really creates, but kind of destroys like those bridges that like everybody has between each other, that like, I don't like you because of this, or I don't think that this is okay because of this. That's fine. We can disagree on a lot of things. Like, granted, there's some things that like you can't just agree to disagree on. Some things are just plain wrong. But I just feel like so many things in our world could be fixed with a conversation and an open mind.
Oh yeah, I think actually, oh, there it goes again. Anyway, I hate that phone anyway. It's okay. Let it die. Let it die. Go for it. The battery's terrible. Anyways, I feel like a lot of people do think now that if you were to have a conversation with somebody that disagrees with you, that there wouldn't be a conversation. But I'm quite the opposite. I feel like I'm pretty sure we disagree on a lot of things.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure.
But I feel like the fear of talking to somebody goes away as soon as you start talking to them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh shit, wait a minute, this is a human being. Wait a minute, they have a life. They've been through things. They know things that I don't.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I know things that they don't, and I think that mentality, I think a lot of people need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And just go out there and just talk to somebody that you think, because I think that's the only way that you're gonna get to kind of like a actual truth. Some things are so fogged up right now that you can't really. It's gonna be really tough to find it on your own.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that like I don't know. I definitely agree with that. And I think that it just kind of goes back to like what we were talking about, like as society and like how everything is like politicized and, you know, being like pushed and pulled by different forms of government. Like it's kind of like not ants. What is it? The movie with the little ants in it and the grasshoppers.
A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life. It's like that. Like there's so many little people, us being the little people, you know, and so few of like these politicians and, you know, obviously like big corporations play a part in it, but there's so many things that I feel like we are greater. The little people are greater than the big people, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like if we sat down and like, for example, like the Biden versus Trump supporters, like, yeah, there's some things that are just wrong and some things that maybe you may always butt heads on. But there are some things being fed to you in the media and, you know, maybe on social media and things like that that are being misconstrued by, you know, one side or the other that could very easily be cleared up because, you know, like abortion, for example, you know, Republicans in general, or like, you know, the far left or far right, I don't know what side is what, but like extremist Republicans are like, you're just killing babies. You just want to kill babies. And extreme leftists, extreme Democrats are just like, well, you're taking away, like, you just want to, you know, whatever. You just want control.
I feel like a lot of it's just a bunch of people playing gotcha.
Yeah.
With each other.
Yeah. So, but like if those people came together, like maybe not the extremists, but like the general,
I don't know.
The general, you know,
maybe.
if they came together and were like, just kind of, if each side was open to hearing the other's perspective and that like, I'm not a devil, because everybody's demonizing one side or the other, and it's not that. Like there's good and bad in everything, and everyone, and every, you know, bill that's being proposed right now. There's good and bad. Like, do I believe in killing babies? Absolutely fucking not. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. But I'm not going to take away your right to be able to decide if you want to do that because of my religion, you know? And so would I ever have an abortion? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Religiously, like I can't say that I could mentally get past that point. But I don't want, you know, a hardcore Catholic to come and tell me, well, if I was an atheist and a Catholic came to me and was like, you can't do that because my God said, I'd say, well, your God is not my God, so please keep it moving. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, no disrespect to those religions, you do what you want to do with your body, and to respect your culture and your religion and your gods. You know, I would never ask you to sin, I guess, in the eyes of your God because I don't believe in that. But why are you asking me to, you know, compromise on my beliefs and my morals because of your God? Like, it's just not fair. And that sounds so, I hate saying that because it sounds like such a crybaby. Like, it's not fair. Life's not fair, but
it does sound a little bit like a cop-out.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's there's I feel like too many people go, it's either black or white.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of gray area in, I mean, really everything, but especially like politics and stuff today. But it's like you said, it's the gray area is so foggy because of the people who only see in black and white. You know, like they don't see the middle ground, and so there's just not. Well, there is more now, but like for a long time there wasn't a lot of like conversation going around into like, how do we compromise and how do we meet in the middle to find some sort of common ground? Because there's common ground in everything. There is. But again, like, some people are just little titty babies who are very entitled and very, and again, on both sides, very entitled, very, I want it my way, and that's how it's got to be, or I'm not happy. And that's the problem, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's there's so many things. Like, I do think, some instincts kick in, like tribalism, like where it's like, okay, my guy said this. Crap, I gotta. This my guy said this, so I said this kind of thing, and I feel like eventually people are gonna start realizing that, you know, more people are way in the middle than most people think, and I don't know how long it's gonna take for people to wake up and realize that.
I feel like the mindset right now is like, kind of like the too many chiefs, not enough Indians type of thing.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
So just like there's too many people who just think that they're the ones in charge, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And not enough people working, like not enough Indians, God, and that might be racist. I'm so sorry if that like
I'm
offends anybody.
I'm totally racist.
But oh no, but you know, like if that like offends anybody, but like I didn't mean it for that. But you know, there's not enough worker bees. I guess we'll put it that way. Too many people thinking that they're the queen bee, the king bee, whatever, that should be in charge and should be pampered and catered to and all their whims and wishes, and not enough people working together to produce a reality that we all actually want. You know what I mean? Because like you said, they're afraid of having those conversations with each other because, I don't know, whether it be fear of being rejected or fear of being, you know, knocked down or whatever, we don't view each other as people almost. I feel like we just view each other as just like
just a list of things that I disagree with.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, a conversation, you guys. Have a conversation with somebody that you might not agree with today.
By the way, when I said I'm racist to my own kind.
You hate everybody equally?
This guy doesn't believe in having those conversations with...
Huh?
She said have conversations with people you don't agree with.
Yeah.
But you say you'd never get them on the cast.
Oh. Well, there's certain people that I just think that they do certain things that just it's not that they're too far gone. It's just I just there's like people who believe in like stones, you know, magical stones and shit like that. You don't believe in that? Like, well, like not that. Okay, so not even a question that like you don't believe in it, but you don't think that like it's possible. Like I feel like too many people go. It's a little
ooh woo.
It's a little like it. I don't even know how to say it because it's sort of the same feeling I get when somebody tries to sell me the knives, you know, like kind of that thing. It just feels like a giant scam for people to buy more and more and more. Yeah, I understand that, and it very is like it's getting more and more. I don't want to say polluted or like diluted, but like an oversaturated market kind of for those things. And I say that because like even like I watch a lot of TikTok videos and I do actively believe in not I wouldn't say actively believe, but I'm definitely becoming more open to like meditation and like energies and like the crystals and things like that. Crystals aren't really something that I'm like super into or that I've completely bought into. I guess it's crystals. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the amethyst and like the malachite and things like that. Yeah. So it is really hard, I've found, to find authentic people like that, but that's not to say that like, and so it does make it harder for somebody who doesn't typically believe, because like I believe in astrology. Do you? Because I feel like you don't. No. Okay, and that's not a judgment. I just, you know, based on the conversations we have, I don't feel like.
I mean, my sign, every time I say it, I get bad things. So I'm like, you know what? Screw you.
Are you a Gemini?
Nah.
Oh, what are you?
I'm a Leo.
A Leo? Oh, no, I love Leos.
Nah, I've heard bad things about us.
No,
that we're just sex fanatics and stuff like that.
I mean...
Or so, I don't know, that we just see like I remember this one chick where I met, we were talking, we met, and she's the one that went all in on it. She was like we're gonna do it. And I was like, oh, we just met, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say no, you're hot as hell.
Yeah.
And then after it, she was like, oh, you're totally a Leo. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do with it?
So I hate that, because I do very much believe in astrology. I'm just kind of learning to like, I'm still kind of learning about it, just kind of the same with like the crystals and stuff like that. But I definitely do think that there are bits and pieces that like help you understand yourself and other people a little bit more.
I can see that, yeah.
Because I've had some people tell me like it's just so self-serving, you know, like you read stuff that could be true about you or anybody, like, because some people think it's just generalized, and I'm not going to say that it's not sometimes, especially like the stuff that you see on Facebook and things like that. Like you could just copy and paste whatever sign you wanted over that, and like somebody in that sign is going to agree with it at least a little bit. Yeah. Right. And so I understand that perspective, because again, it is kind of polluted and diluted, and like people that don't really know what they're talking about are getting their hands into it. But like I recently downloaded this app. It's called The Pattern, and it just tells you like all about like your birth chart and stuff like that. And I do kind of think that it's a little bit like that, a little bit like self-serving, kind of like a copy and paste from one thing to the other. But like I found I don't like to look into it so much as like for myself, because like I know who I am, and I don't want somebody else telling me, oh, well, because of your sign you should do this or you should do that. But I like to look at it at like for other people. Excuse me. So like my best friend, I had her download it and put in like her birth chart and stuff. And it really helps me understand, like, I feel like kind of where she comes from emotionally and like mentally, and things that like she might not particularly talk about or that I might not have picked up on. I'll read through her birth chart and be like, oh, okay, so it says that this is probably how she will receive an opinion about this based on like her emotional state or whatever. And a lot of the times, like, I will approach it like based off of what things like that say, and it works. Like, and I'm not gonna say it works every time, because again, like, it's not 1,000% accurate.
What is the line from
Was it?
It works.
Is it 60% of the time? It works every time.
yeah, exactly. And again, like I said, like, just kind of getting my foot through the door. But like, so I'm not like a fanatic to be like, oh, it's 1,000% real or 1,000% not. But I do. It's kind of like the thing, like, because a lot of it is based on like the moon and the sun, and so like.
Oh, that's what I learned too. There's a sun. There's a sun sign.
Man, there's so many. There's a sun sign, a moon sign, and a rising sign. It's usually the big three that people will like tell you about. If
and
they're into
starting
it,
to
they
do the planets now too, right?
Yeah, well, it's always been that. Like, it's always been that way. Like, so there's like the Jupiter, the Venus. Like, there's so much and like so many intricacies of it, just like there would be with anything, that are like fun to learn about. And I feel like when you dive more into that, like when you get deeper into it, is when you kind of really start to understand that, like, oh, like, okay, like this might be like a cool thing.
Yeah, I don't mind it as a cool thing, or you know,
or like it might be a little bit accurate, like, and again,
neat.
like, it's just kind of like one of those things that like I wouldn't hold as truth to be like, this is 1,000% me or 1,000% you, or definitely wouldn't judge people because of that. Like, star signs and things like that, I feel like your placements are important to like kind of what's ingrained in you as a person, but at the same time, with the way that our world is and all the different experiences that other people have, like, you can't take that for face value, because it shifts people. Like, people shift based on their own experiences. So,
by the way, you see me smiling a little bit because what I'm going to bring up next. I'm not.
Okay, pause. No,
you're
you're fine.
I'm like, I have this one thing I really want to tell you.
No, and then, but yeah, just back to like the crystals and stuff. Like, I don't buy into the crystals all the way, but I buy into them a little bit, because I definitely do believe in like energy, and like that, you know, we learned about it in physics, like matter is just pure energy, and like, God, what is it called?
Can be created or destroyed, is that what you?
Yeah, kind of, but like, what is it? Like, not anatomical physics, that's like body. I don't know, but just like, if you look into physics, there's like a phenomenon that goes on that like any particle of matter exists at any point in time, like, as long as you're paying attention to it, which is like, I can't really explain it, but I'll send you the book for it, but I forget what it's called, but it's like, I have it, but anyway, energy exists, energy is real, like, that's my point, and everything is energy. So I feel like there's definitely a way to channel those energies and to manifest, I guess, if you would, and some people view it as like very ooh woo, like spiritual stuff, which granted, like, it might be, but I think that it's easier to accept and digest when you start looking at it from a scientific standpoint and being like, because there's backing behind it, you know, scientifically. And some people, like I said, will just dismiss it because it's very ooh woo. But if you go into like the science behind it and why people believe that this could be real, and kind of, again, like the merging of those two worlds, because there's some people who are just strictly like, it's just spiritual, and some people who are like, no, this is just science, so it can't be spiritual. But when you're able to, like, for me, it was when I was able to like kind of mesh those two worlds together and understand that like this happens because of this. And so, yeah, it really does exist. Like, in this sense, they're just calling it something else. That's kind of when I more so just bought into like, energy is real, and you can kind of do and create whatever realities that you want based on how you're energetically aligned. And that sounds so stupid, but yeah, I buy into that for sure.
Now I know both of you are on TikTok.
Okay.
I refuse to download that.
Why?
It's just, I'm terrible with my time management. The last thing I need is something to just take up 8 hours of my day.
Same.
So anyways, I know that there was this trend going on especially for women.
Okay.
That was something about numbers.
Numbers?
And you would people would put TikToks, and they would say, this is the number for...
Oh, the Grabavoy codes. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
Oh
about.
my god, what the hell is going on?
The Grabavoid
Are
codes. I
these
think
people
that's what it's called.
literally just saying these numbers and hoping that
Yeah, it's
That's-
definitely, it's just like another form of like manifestation. And that's something.
that's the one? There we go.
I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're talking
Oh
about.
man,
It's
this
like,
is
I don't know. Yeah, yes. So
Oh man.
okay, and admittedly, like I did try it. I tried it because it said like if you like write these things down on a piece of paper and you like stick it underneath like one of those mason jars, actually I have like a whole bunch of them, and you stick it in like a clear jar and you let it sit in the moonlight, like the
I'm drinking your brujeria right now.
Yep.
No, I was kidding. Anyways,
that
go.
like it'll absorb the energy and like those number frequencies, right, that they'll it'll help you manifest better or whatever. So admittedly, like I did try that, and again, like that's something that like I haven't particularly bought into, but I haven't completely written off, only because like it kind of translates back for me into like music, so I was in choir for a really, really long time, like all my life. Like that's I was the choir girl.
Choir's dope.
Yeah, I love choir.
I was in choir.
But like we kind of do like they do like the do re mi fa so, right? But those translate into numbers like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and which again like in turn translate into like A B C D E F G, whatever, certain frequencies. And I mean, I think that we can all kind of admit to like that's how movies manipulate us. That's how music manipulates us. Is that like when you play a low note, a low frequency, you feel it. Versus when you play like a higher, like happier frequency, you feel it in a different way, in a different part of your body, in a different whatever. So I feel like that's where like the frequencies come into play. And so I kind of associate that with those numbers, that like if it's a high frequency, I'm going to feel good, but I don't want to be in this low frequency vibration and like feel like shit. Because if I'm, and I don't like, I keep calling it frequency. I sound so ooh woo. Oh my God. Am I one of those girls? I am, I guess. But like if I come in here with a shit attitude and like this low vibration of like, I don't want to be here, I'm in a bad mood, I don't even have to say it, but you guys feel it, right? Because my energy is like,
well, the
casting
eyes,
out to you guys.
The eyes that you're giving us is kind of telling.
yeah, well, like,
We're
and
like,
I was
oh,
like, okay, if I was like this and I was in a shitty mood, y'all would probably be able to tell.
Your mouth just being mad.
Yeah.
But anyways, I get you. I get you.
You know what I mean? Like, but
you can tell when a
you can
vibe.
tell when the
is
vibes are off.
Bad, yeah.
See, but you believe in vibes, right? Like you feel the vibes, right? Like you can admit that like you feel the vibes. Like it's the vibe or it's not the vibe.
A vibe. When I say vibe, I mean like the mood. Like it's a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Exactly, but that's what I think. Like
Well, I just don't want it to get misconstrued that I
No, no.
think that like I feel the vibration.
no,
I'm
no,
like,
and that
3, 5, 8. Oh,
no.
Daniel's mad at me.
No, and I definitely, that's not what I mean. Like, I don't
Okay.
say vibrations in like
Yeah.
a literal
Okay,
sense. That's
gotcha.
just kind of like the term,
All right.
the blanket term used for that. But like, that's exactly what it means. Like the mood, you feel the
Yeah.
mood shift based on like somebody's, like Patrick's mood or my mood or your mood. Like we feel those energy shifts, just being around each other and just kind of observing like what's going on. So maybe just call it an observation. But, yeah, again, like I said, like I definitely think that energy is real, and I don't completely buy into those Grabavoid codes, like, because I don't understand them. But I think it makes it, again, easier for me to break down and digest when I put it in perspective of something that I do understand, like music and frequencies and different tones like that. So I definitely understand like your skepticism of it,
yeah.
and like the like ooh woo or whatever,
Yeah.
but yeah.
What if it's kind of like a lost art or something from back
Yeah.
in the day, and
Yeah.
Right. And so
Oh, sure.
that's another thing. Like you just like
magic?
you just never know. See, and okay, so that kind of, you say magic, and like you said brujeria earlier. And I think like, you don't believe in witchcraft? I do.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there was this one chick that my uncle was dating, and I remember my grandma saying she's a bruja, and I was like, when I saw her, I saw like she was always in a red dress, and I was like, something's weird about that lady. But I don't know.
Because you could so okay, so that's like for me, you telling me that like you saw her aura, right? Like even if you don't like, it's not like a physical, like you don't physically see it,
Yeah.
but like something in you receives that about her. And so yeah, I feel like you said, like kind of ancient customs and things like that, because my great grandparents were like, my great grandpa particularly was really into black magic and things like that, whereas my grandmother is very religious and like completely casts that out, like absolutely not. But I'm very spiritual and like I believe in demons and things like that. But I think that like older Hispanic people like my grandma would view like all this stuff that's going on, like the stones, you called them stones? What was I calling them?
I call
crystals.
them rocks.
Oh yeah, rocks. The rocks, crystal stones, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Like this whole spirituality shift of like energy and things like that. That older generation would look at it and be like, that's brujeria, like that's witchcraft, which it very well might be. But it's all...
You got my attention.
To me, it's just kind of like, it's all about, again, perspective and what umbrella you put that under. Because my grandma might look at that and be like, oh, well, that's witchcraft. But witchcraft is it witchcraft or is it white magic or is it black magic or is it, a different thing? But again, like my grandma would put all of that under the same umbrella of brujeria and it's bad versus, a good witch who would be like, well, that's white magic and that's good, or a bad person that was like, that's black magic and I'm going to use it for bad. Again, that's something that like I don't particularly understand, but I don't completely discredit it because again, I just don't understand it. So, and I feel like, and not a judgment on you, but I just feel like people in general who like are really closed off to all of that, like you're at least open to talking about it and like giving your opinion.
I can't shut up.
No, whatever. But like, some people would very much be like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say about it. I feel like it comes from a place of misunderstanding. I don't understand that, and it creates like a cognitive dissonance for me, so I don't want to hear it. Again, like that, like I said earlier, like very quick to shut down because they're not comfortable with that cognitive dissonance and working through it, which at the end of it all, you may very well still be like, oh, yeah, sorry, I don't believe in it. But at least then you understand like where these other people are coming from and you can have an appreciation for why they think that way and not just be like, absolutely.
For me, is I see the comedy in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so I just laugh at everything.
Yeah. See, and I feel that though. That's a good way to be. And it's very easy to see that, like even as somebody who does kind of believe in those things, it's easy for me to see how people find it comical and how people could be like, no freaking way. Like, because I was like that. I am still like that in a lot of cases. Like somebody will be like, oh, well, if you do this, this, and this, like those grab-avoid codes. I'm like, look, I tried it, admittedly, but no freaking way, bro. But I understand how you think that it could work. Like, I understand how your brain works and how that makes it work for you mentally. But
like reptilians.
Oh my God,
The
y'all
guy-
believe in the lizard people?
The guy at work, we were talking about reptilians, and the other guy in the back is like, "What the hell are you talking?" Like he's
like-
never heard of it at all, and we're like,
That's not what I thought.
You don't know anything about lizard people? What are you?
I thought you were going to say that storm's coming, that he was like doing that in the back.
Oh.
He is a reptilian. No, I don't know.
No, but it sounded like that. Like people would be like, "You're weird. Why do you even think like that?"
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has their conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Or at least some kind of like, I don't know about that kind of thought.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's completely natural. Just as we are as humans, we're a little bit skeptical about everything. Oh, I just said that really fast. And you should be. You should question things. But again, like this is just me. I'm sure y'all got the vibe. I'm very open to like, I'll hear you out on anything because I just want to know how your mind works. Even if I particularly don't agree or don't believe, I'm not going to completely discredit you or say that you're wrong because, I mean, I very well could be wrong. Just because I don't believe in it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Very similar to like religion, just because I don't believe in your God doesn't mean that he's not real. And I say your God, like I don't believe in God. I definitely believe in God, but just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean that God may or may not be real. Like I could be completely wrong. And like what do the Christians say? Like if I believe in God and he's not real, then I've wasted my life or whatever. But if you don't believe in God and he's not real, then you've wasted your eternity.
Oh,
And
okay,
so-
I get you. Yeah.
So like I understand that perspective, but at the same time, it's just like, it may be truth to you, but it may not be absolute truth, if that makes sense. I believe in truth, and there's like your truth, and then there's the truth. And like, I'm not going to knock your truth because my truth is different when the truth might be both, so, or one or the other, it's just,
I know. I just thought it was funny, but also I thought it was kind of like a little dangerous is too big of a word. I'd say like a little not threatening, not like a little concerning that some people might believe that if they say a certain numbers that they're going to get what they want. And going through a good portion of my life where I thought I was like the child, I was the child of light. I was the one that's gonna, eventually like, it's all just gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, this is gonna just happen. I feel like some people are just gonna get in that thought where I'm gonna say these numbers every day, and it's gonna happen one of these days.
Yeah, and it's a delusion, right? Yeah. Like, and I understand that too. Like, how many times am I gonna say that? I understand that. Ugh. Edit all those out. I'm just kidding. But
bleep, not just kidding.
Yeah, I understand. What is she saying? Understand. But I agree with that too. That just, it's not, ethical isn't the right word. It's not really feasible to believe that just because you believe in, your spirit guides or energy or God or anything, it's not feasible to believe that in the world that we live in, just because you believe in those things, you don't have to put in the work. Mm-hmm. Like, there's definitely, you have to put something behind it. Like, it's like science and fact. Yeah, you could have a theory and you could believe this theory wholeheartedly, but until you put in the work to test that theory and work through whatever issues you have, or put like a backing behind it, like some sort of hardcore fact, it's not going to happen, and it's not truth, So yeah, I very much, as I could believe in all of the things that we just talked about, nothing's going to happen for you unless you go and put forth the effort behind it to actively pursue the things that you want. Like, yeah, it might help you mentally get through like the hard parts, mm-hmm. to have something to believe in. Like, that's, mental blocks are definitely a thing that I think keep people from pursuing their goals and pursuing their dreams and breaking through the hard parts of life to get to like that next level, if you would. But you're always going to have a mental block until you do the work to get out of it. Right. So yeah, I agree that it could be, it is delusional to me to think that just because I'm saying these codes and just because I'm doing this mantra or manifestation that like everything is going to fall into place. Yeah. But if you go in and you watch these people who really are like actively into manifestation and things like that, they 9 times out of 10 will tell you the same thing. I'm manifesting this into my life, and I'm, saying these manifestations every day in the mirror, but I'm also like, okay, there's that, like the thing that's going around for the girls right now that like, I want to be that girl, right? Like, so like they want to be that girl that like gets up every morning and goes to the gym and like has their hair done and has their coffee and has like all this. Okay, that's great. Yeah. But if you're not getting up every day and having your coffee and going to the gym and doing those things, if you're not showing up as that girl every day, you're never going to be that girl. Does that make sense?
Is that a thing? Is it like that girl?
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah. No. That's literally how they say it. They say like that girl, like the it girl, like what they would say in the 90s, like the it girl. But
I think I know a few of them.
Yeah, right. See, okay, good for you. Hey,
we're heading 2 hours.
Family.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so actually, we'll finish up on this on this topic because you are a bit younger, and actually, you two are on that app, and that as much as I hate that app, as much as I think it is a detriment to a lot of people, I have to admit there is some value, and there's one thing that I wanted to ask people who are a little more connected than I am is that. Before COVID hit, there was this big old influx of hustle culture. Mm-hmm. Get it, do it, whatever, But then after COVID, I feel like it's dying out. And I feel like when you say that, it girl, that is hustle, but it's dying. So is it there or is it not there?
I definitely think that hustle culture is still, I don't want to say thriving, but because I feel like a lot of people have shifted their focus to kind of wanting to live this soft lifestyle. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would love to live a soft life where I could live in the woods and, grow vegetables.
That sounds badass, yeah.
And like go swimming in the river every day and like make my own herbs and teas. Like, you know, just live my life that way, like at peace. But I feel like, I think as a society and like the American dream is kind of where that hustle culture like began, that like you have to grind every single day all the time to get where you want to be. And not to say that that's not accurate, because you like, again, like you do have to put in the work to get to where you want to be. But I think that especially like people our age, just like you, me, Patrick, all of us, I personally have experienced it a lot. There's just a lot of burnout because we're working our lives away, our entire lives. Whereas like the older generation, because of the economy, like 40 grand got you a 3-bedroom house and you were working 8 to 5 and that's it. We don't have those options anymore. So I feel like because of that, like hustle culture kind of became more ingrained in like us and like our age group, because we had to work harder. We have to work harder to get, you know, a nice 3-bedroom house, to be able to feed our families, to be able to live the American dream that, you know, our great-great-grandparents, just not necessarily as Hispanics, but, you know, as
the idea
of it was just kind of not handed to them, but definitely wasn't as hard of a grind.
Way more feasible.
Yeah, it was way more feasible for them than it would be for us in today's day and age, in today's economy.
I just love words, by the way. So
yeah, me too. No, yes, teach me a new word every single day. I'm like, my friends call me like the human thesaurus because I love words. But yeah, it was definitely more feasible for them, whereas we have to work, you know, I'm not going to say 10 times harder, but maybe 3 times harder. You know, single income household is like obsolete. Like you can't, unless like the man of the house or whoever's working, the breadwinner of the house is making, you know, well over 6 figures, because 6 figures nowadays is still middle class. Like maybe upper middle class, but it's still very much middle class. Whereas 6 figures.
One more thing after this.
Whereas like 6 figures back then, like, oh, you're rich, you know? Yeah. So I definitely think that just because it was harder for us to get to those places financially and economically, like hustle culture began. But I feel like especially after COVID, when we were stuck inside and had nobody but the people that typically, like the people you care about most, you're kind of, what was the word, like not isolated, but you know, you were stuck with like your immediate family and the people you cared about. And if they had to be out and like in the public, like we were worried about people dying. We were worried about not being, I lost a friend to COVID last year, and so talking about it is like hard, but we were worried about people dying, and people were dying. And so I feel like because we, like, people weren't necessarily having to go out and work because we couldn't go out and work because they didn't want us around, like I feel like we've shifted our perspective, not necessarily as a whole, but like as a majority, to the things that really matter. And the things that really matter are people and each other and community. I feel like community is a really big thing for me. So I feel like, again, being like isolated to like the most important people in your life, and then being scared that like other people in your life that you also cared about could go out and get sick and just die, definitely for me shifted that perspective of like, yeah, I could work my life away, but none of it is ever going to matter if the people that I care about and my community are not okay. And so then now I feel like a lot of it is like reverting back to not necessarily, I said a soft life earlier, so maybe a soft life, but not like a totally soft life, just an easier life, like an easier life of life doesn't have to just be work. Like there's more to life, and there's things that matter more than corporate culture and all the money in the world, because all the money in the world isn't gonna keep the people that I love around. Yeah. Because like I said earlier, like people are temporary, and I think that I don't think hustle culture is dying. To answer your question, I don't think it's dying. I just think that it's shifted to where we're not hustling for money anymore. We're hustling to make our time valuable. Yeah. So
I kind of want to end it there, but
you should end it there. End it there. We'll cut off, and then we'll do like a little snippet. Because I gotta go to the restroom again.
Well, this is a quick one, and this is gonna end it.
Okay.
You want to run, and then we'll just.
No, I don't want to miss it.
Okay. All right. So this is a quick one, and I've wondered this for a while, and it's really a female perspective, but it's kind of sad that you said that the household it's pretty much like two people have to work. Are we in a state where even if it was possible, some women I don't know if it's pride, but would not want to stay home?
Yeah, I think definitely there are women that just, and maybe not necessarily pride, it's just, again, it goes back to like kind of what we were talking about as far as like weight loss and like the male versus female gaze or whatever, kind of like, I personally, like, if I didn't have to work and I didn't have to worry about being the breadwinner of the house, but I knew that all my needs were being met and I could, still go out. I always said I wanted to be a trophy wife. And I kind of do, like, not necessarily because I want kids, but if I had a man that could provide my soft lifestyle for me to go out and do Pilates every day and hang out with my friends and then, go home and take care of my kids, like, absolutely I would give that man children. But, like, it's not as feasible anymore. So for me, I'm like, no. But I know that there are women who, if given the option, would choose to work. And I don't think that's pride. I think it just comes down to a sense of like just individuality and who people are as people in general. Like, and I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with it. If they wanted to get up and work, then they wanted to get up and work. Because again, like there just are some women that just don't. Motherhood isn't what makes them happy. Like being able to have a career and express themselves and their individuality is what fulfills them as human beings. Because, like we know, everybody's different. Everybody has their own individualistic traits. So definitely there would be those women that would choose, even if we did go back to like the soft lifestyle and reverted back to it. There's some people that like would hate that, and I understand that like wholeheartedly because I don't know why I understand it, but I do. But yeah, no, there's definitely women that wouldn't accept that. Not to say that they wouldn't necessarily be grateful because obviously it would make it easier on them. But sometimes for some women, it's not about the money. It's just about the fulfillment. And like I said, some people aren't fulfilled by being a wife and having children. Like, and that's just, I mean, I guess that's just kind of how it is. But again, like I can't speak for all women when I say that, like, yeah, I would like a soft lifestyle because some people just don't. Like, there's a girl on TikTok and YouTube, actually. Her name is Michelle Diaz, and she's like 20 years old, and she's like teaching these women to like, I don't want to say be gold diggers, but like I feel like from the male perspective, like it would be viewed as like being a gold digger. She calls herself like a stay-at-home girlfriend. She's not a wife, she's not married, but she expects her boyfriend to like provide everything for her, which I see the face that you're making, and like it sends up red flags for me definitely too, but for me, like, she is very beautiful. She's very young. Definitely has like a business mindset and kind of the way that like she chooses her men. Like for her lifestyle and her like maintenance and her persona is her business. That's how she makes money, and that's how she, lives the lifestyle that she wants to live, because that's the lifestyle that she wants to live. You know what I mean? But she definitely does kind of preach that like soft lifestyle that like I keep talking about. Whereas, like, there's other girls on TikTok who, I wouldn't want to say feminists, but because I think Michelle is a feminist as well. But
I'm gonna excuse myself.
Okay, but there's definitely girls that don't agree with that and do think that, like, I want to get my own. I want to be the breadwinner. I want to do this. I want to do that, just because, I mean, that's what they want to do, and they think that it's wrong for a woman to depend on a man, which. It's so funny that, like, you make the faces because I understand, like, how bad that sounds. But when we talk about these men who expect, or not really expect, but who want a woman who is, like, I guess dependent on them, who want the stay-at-home wife, who want the woman who is barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. And there's women that'll give you that, and that's cool. But when you think about those men and the types of women that they're asking for, if you put a woman like Michelle Diaz in front of them and tell them she expects you to pay for everything, she expects to be able to stay at home and do her makeup and look pretty, they're going to make the same faces that you made and go, absolutely the fuck not. She's a gold digger. Well, what are you doing for the woman who stays at home and takes care of your children? The exact same thing. The only difference is this woman doesn't have children yet. And not to say that she wouldn't give them to you, but it's the same dynamic. You're just looking at it differently because it doesn't serve you.
No, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
I get you.
Like, and I don't mean you, like, in particular, but yeah, and those same men will say, like, well, you know, I want a girl who can provide as well, who can take care of me, who can do whatever. But you put a woman in front of them who wants to work and wants to have her own career and wants to do whatever, and, oh, well, you're not giving me enough time. You care too much about your career. Like, it's another one of those things that's just, like, very black and white. That there is, like, gray, but, like, it's so hard. And this is, like, something a little bit off track, but it's such a, like, there's such a war between women and men right now because of, like, women want to make men look bad. I feel like, especially on social media, it's really easy to, like,
there's a war on men for sure.
Yeah, but the same for men. Like, it's the same thing for men. Like,
There are weak men out there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same. Like I said, the same for women. Like, there's women that will attack men just to attack men because they want to be hateful and they're bitter. But there's men who will attack women just because they think that there's some sort of a prize to be won. When, like, what is Michelle? She calls them, like, high value men. Like, there are high value men, but when you hear that term, a lot of people think of, like, money. You know, like, they have money or whatever. Like, that's not necessarily what that means. Like, you could be a high value man working a basic job, but you know, your girl might still have to, like, help you out every once in a while, like, or split the bills or whatever. You could still be very high value being a man like that because you respect your wife, because you understand each other, because you communicate, because you care about her, because you provide for her needs that aren't just financial. Like, to me, that's high value, not necessarily, like, the dollar sign. And I got like way off track with that. But long story short, yes, there are women who even nowadays would reject the idea of being a stay-at-home mom or being a stay-at-home wife just because they just don't want to.
I hope there's at least one left for me.
That rejects it or that wants it?
That wants it.
No, there's...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I read an article saying that it was also like a mental health thing.
What do you mean?
Like, because they would rather work because they're in the house all day and then their life becomes their home. So then even their friends, they become that friend that doesn't go out because they're a home wife. And then going out just seems like a burden because they're just so used to being inside the house all day. And
and I definitely... That too. I'm glad you, like, bring that up because I have cousins, you know, who have kids, and it's my boss. You know, she's been pregnant for, like, the last 2 years. She had a 1-year-old, or she has a baby, and she's a year old. And when she was just a few months old, she got pregnant again. My boss got pregnant again, and so, like, she was pregnant for 9 months.
How did that happen?
I know, laying down, I imagine.
Shut up, bro.
But yeah, like, so I think they went like 8 weeks and then she was pregnant again after having her baby. And so last night, actually, she went out and, like, she went to a concert with her mom, and she hasn't been anywhere without her kids since the first baby was born. And so I think as a woman, I could definitely understand being stuck in the house like that, especially after watching my cousins with all their kids. And it's very easy to... I don't know the word for it, but to shrink a woman down into this box of just being a wife or just being a mother or just being a provider. But you forget that these women, and I have so much respect for stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife, because that is, like, a full-time job to provide for people like that. And it's something you don't you don't ever get a break from it. But it's really easy, I think, for people and for those women themselves to forget their individuality and that they have needs and that they have wants and things that need to be met for them. So, like, when she went out last night, I texted her, I was like, I'm so proud of you, like, drink some vodka, like, I'm so happy that you're out there, you deserve this. But she told me before that, like, her husband, and he's a great guy, but just that, like, he hadn't really expressed a lot of interest in her going to this concert, that he was just kind of like, well, what about this? Well, where are the kids gonna go? What is this gonna happen? Like, she told me, she was like, he never once told me that I deserved to go out or that I deserved to do this. And I'm like, well, it's not, to me, like, she does deserve it because, like, obviously, like, you're working, but it's not a thing about deserving it or not deserving it. There's a need that needs to be met for you individually outside of you just being a mother, outside of you just being a wife. And I think that people forget that, and that they're like, oh, well, she has kids, or, oh, well, she has a husband, so she has to do this, or she can't go out. Like you said, like it's viewed negatively for her to be anything other than a mother or a wife, and for her to just be herself. And I think that that's something that really needs to change, and that people need to take into perspective, because the woman that's putting food in your mouth and gave life to you had a life before you, and she will have a life after you. Whether or not you decide to allow her to have a life while you're still involved is, I guess, a decision that you get to make on whether or not you're going to guilt her for being her own person.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no, my wife can go to concerts.
Oh, my wife can go to concerts. Yeah, she better. Send her with a bottle.
I'll go with her. Shoot, unless it's a really bad one.
Yeah.
What would be a bad one?
Coetzel. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Oh, man, I'm so out of touch. We did a little portion in the last show, but we didn't release it. I don't know. I didn't know who two of these celebrities were.
Who was
Oh,
And I described them completely
opposite.
incorrectly.
It was Doja Cat and
I love Doja Cat.
they sing the Sweetest Pie. What's the other one? Megan Thee Stallion.
I think so. I don't know. I haven't heard that
Yeah,
song.
I think that's the
But,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
I
love them
remember I the Stallion. I was like, the Stallion? Okay.
Yeah.
I made some terrible guesses there. Completely wrong.
It's okay. I can't. A lot of the times, like if I'm not a big fan of like the artist, I couldn't tell you what they sang. I can't, and I can't put a face to the name either. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we end, could you sing something?
what do you want me to sing?
Okay.
I don't know.
I had one
Just-
more. One
okay.
more.
Oh wait, don't forget. We got to do my phone call.
Oh yeah. Okay. We'll do the phone call right. This is a quick one.
Yeah.
So for me, or like growing up, when I was still in my 20s, the whole marriage thing, it felt like the gas pedal was like off, right?
Yeah.
And now that I'm in the 30s, it feels like it's full, like not. It's not even my family that's
Yeah.
doing it. It's myself. It's like I don't know. It feels. How's it for you? Like, has it been always down, or when did it come? When did it start going down?
So I think that for me personally, like from a woman's point of view, like growing up younger, like we definitely have this pressure put on us that like once you pass a certain age, like you're not valuable to men, because in our brains and the way that society has ingrained, like everybody wants a 20-something, that's tight and, whatever, and body tight, whatever tight, like everybody wants a tight 20-something. And so for me, it was very much like pedal to the metal. I need to be married before I'm older than like 26 years old, I think is probably the goal that I had for myself, because I thought that no man was ever going to want me if I was over that age. And I think that now that I've passed that age and been able to kind of like digest and understand the way that society works and the way that people work, I've kind of taken that pressure off of myself a little bit. Again, because I've become more self-serving. I'm not here to impress you. I'm not here to impress my family. I'm not here to impress, the men that I think that I want. I'm here to live a life that's happy and peaceful for myself. And when I'm able to do that, then I feel like it would be better for everybody, and the people that are meant for me will gravitate towards me, because it's not someone else's responsibility to fulfill my goals for myself. You know what I mean? So once I get there, then I guess I'll be there. But I've been able to kind of take my foot off the gas for like the whole marriage, have kids, do this, do that by a certain age, because when you're able to sit down and accept that you're not the person that you want to be, and take a breather and just say, all right, well, let me work towards getting there. I just think that it makes life a whole lot easier on yourself to just accept where you are, decide where you want to be, and start working towards that without the time constraints that society and families and culture put on you. So
The Asians are really hardcore on that, by the way.
Are you Asian?
Huh?
No, you're all Hispanic, right?
Don't worry, it's not
Sorry.
the first time I've gotten it.
But they are.
I've gotten everything. I've gotten Hispanic. I've gotten white. I've gotten Asian.
Yeah.
And it's so weird.
I mean, I could see that though. You have like a not really. I guess yeah, kind of like an eclectic look. Like you don't typically fall into like any category specifically. So like Patrick, like I would look at him and go like, oh yeah, he's either Hispanic or Native. Like And I think that
I
like
think
kind
you're
of same
both,
for
aren't
me.
you? You have a
Yeah.
little native in you. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, I was right.
Damn.
But like,
That's scary.
Those
Yeah.
crystals, the crystals sold her.
yep, I knew it. Or like me, like I think people could look at me and very plainly go like, "Oh, she's Mexican." Like, but you, it's like different. You have different features from
Yeah,
like
I'm all
different things.
jacked up.
You should do like the 23andMe to see like what blood percentage of whatever you are.
Oh shoot! Imagine
You come back, you're German,
Yeah,
Asian.
you're, I was gonna say Polish or something.
Yeah.
my dad's all like this Mexican, this Spanish. Yeah, I've been faking it.
That's what I was
don't
gonna say. Well, like
Spain Spanish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like your skin tone, you could very well be Spanish. Like
yeah.
I know one girl particularly I went to high school with, and I went to Lubbock Cooper High School. Like, you know the vibes, or do you?
No, we
Okay.
went to a small school.
Oh, very country. They're like in the very country, like very rich.
Was there like horse girls there?
Yeah, there was horse girls there for sure, but it's
Damn.
predominantly white, predominantly Anglo-Saxon American, whatever. I don't know if that's the proper term. There are a lot of white people.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that?
She's Spanish.
Oh yeah. So she long blonde hair, natural, blue eyes, and like pale as that whiteboard behind you. 100% Spanish blood. But yeah, and I never would have guessed. I was like, "You're a white girl," and she was like, "No, I'm Spanish." And I was like, "Those people exist?" Like I thought we were all brown. So
Huh? Yeah. Maybe I can do that. It'd be a trip.
yeah, it'd be cool. We should all do it and then come back and talk about it.
I'd be down.
I'm down.
As long as they don't take my genes and then make a clone out of me, and that
It's too
clone
late.
that clone of mine is existing in a slave camp or something like that out there. I know it got dark.
I'm all there. That escalated.
I was gonna say
that
his-
de-escalated quickly.
His podcast took off, and now you're envious.
Right? Don't worry. After this, it's gonna take off.
Imagine. My clone's podcast is way better. Oh man. Well, I can kill him and replace him.
Right? No.
So,
Yeah. I that was always kind of a thing that I was scared of too. But at this point, like I've worked for so many government agencies, they've got my fingerprints, they've got my DNA, they've got everything. If they wanted to clone me, they did. And good luck to the world that has more than one me in it. Cause
Yeah, that clone's not going to be very good. You got to make it. You can look for somebody else.
yeah. Clone of Patrick, I feel like he'd be a good one.
All right. Well, let's do the call real quick.
Oh yeah. Okay. So one of y'all do it.
Pat's
Whoever has-
gonna put it on the microphone and
Okay,
we'll
cool.
listen to it.
So you're gonna call 1-800-GM, like Good Morning Trucks, TRUCKS. I think it's that.
Yes.
I think
Or
there's an
CK.
S.
Did you bring the white marker, by the way?
1-800-GM.
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
Who do you think you're? Who do you think you're?
I just want to make sure. I don't want another one of these.
S is an extra number.
Okay, so just
Truck.
Yeah. They're gonna give you a free hat, you guys. So if you're looking for a free hat, go ahead and call this number. They're not.
Okay. Oh.
And I have enough energy to keep you hard all night long. Yeah, I may be young, but I have the sweetest tits you've ever had your mouth on, baby, and I fuck for like a whole.
Okay, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't ever go that far when I listened to it.
We're
So
gonna have to edit a little bit
Yeah,
of that out.
So my boss told me to call that number yesterday. Actually, he was like, "They'll give you a free hat." I was like, "Okay, I'm down." But again, I've told you the kind of man my boss is.
Yeah.
Like very chill, very laid back, doesn't really care. Yeah,
Was not expecting that.
yeah. That's why I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good.
But-
We'll have to definitely. Maybe we can leave it on the Spotify version.
Nah, I mean you can take it off if you want. I just wanted y'all to hear
Yeah.
it because I thought it was funny.
Was not expecting.
We
that.
could end it on like a meaningful note.
A meaningful no. Oh yeah. Well, you said. Are you sure? You
Right.
want-
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Well, he wanted you to sing, but
Oh.
I'm not big on the,
Ma- He thinks it's a dance monkey
Monkey dance, yeah.
type of-
Dance
Yeah.
monkey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you don't have to. It's just
I want to, but
Oh,
I'm scared.
shit.
I'm shy,
yeah.
and I'm always scared with acapella because like my go-to is like Paramore, and so very big vocals. But
I mean, what, it looks like we're planning a second one. Are you gonna? Just,
yeah, I'll prepare a
You're
song
prepare
for a second one. Yeah, for sure.
We'll get her and Bethany to come on. No,
Oh my God, please.
She's here. We go right now. Call her.
Right? Yeah. If Bethany's here, I'll do backup. She sings lead. So
We're gonna go. We're gonna go see her live. I don't know when she's doing her next show. It's gonna be pretty dope.
soon, hopefully.
That
Yeah.
was in June or July.
Oh, that was one thing that.
What's up? You can ask her.
Oh, I was just saying. It was more of a statement.
Oh, what's
What?
up?
How she was saying that she didn't feel good enough, like
Oh, yeah.
vocally and stuff. But then, like someone like me going to a school like that, and you see all these, like, damn, I wish I could at least sing a little bit, or
Mhm.
Yeah.
because the hallway is just full of just people singing and belting and jamming and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude,
I wish I had some type of talent.
the music scene in high school, like growing up in high school, it's so much different than it is in college. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I was in high school, doing choir and
Yeah.
band, it was always pretty chill. At least on the band side, the choir side it was a little cringy because you could tell that none of these people were really all that, like, you know, it's like, oh, so we're all the weird kid here.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but going to college, it was cutthroat. It was wild because I remember I used to be a pretty good singer.
Yeah.
Used to be a really good singer, and when I went to college and oh my god, San Angelo, in first semester, I got the lead part. I got the solo,
That's awesome.
and damn.
Angelo State is hard.
They did
to,
not like me.
No?
The like my fellow classmates. They're like, oh, you don't deserve, or you know, I think I sung that better. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm just here. It was like cutthroat. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we were all chilling, and as soon as certain people got solos, like it's like, good luck having friends in that class now.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's really hard. Like I call it the industry or whatever, but like the industry, like even within like college and stuff like that, like Patrick said, so many people just like jamming and stuff. Like so for me, it was quite the opposite of like. So when I was in high school, I got the lead in everything. I got the solos in everything, and I had that very much like those girls that like, oh, I don't like you because of that, or like I did that better than you or whatever. And to me, I was like, well, I was the one with the part, so like. Obviously, I did it better.
Damn, I didn't take it like that. I was like, maybe
yeah.
I don't deserve it.
Yeah,
Holy
and
crap.
so I think that's a lot of like where it came from. That like when I got into college, after being that it girl, if you would, like in high school, in like the performing arts sector of my school, and seeing all these people that in my head were so much better than me, or not, I wasn't necessarily getting all the solos, or I had to share the spotlight a little bit. It definitely. My ego took a hit and it humbled me real quick.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways, like that definitely was a good thing because my head was pretty big. But again, like now I just kind of feel like I'm not good enough. Like I'm not up to par with these people. But I think that for me, like singing is just kind of like a craft, like everything else. Like, and I'm out of practice. So and I can say that like I don't have as much control as I'd like. Not to say though that I don't think that I have like decent vocals. I just think that I've been lazy and I haven't been working on them. So I think it's possible to be like good, but like I don't know if I could be great. But
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how cool we are. Well,
Y'all are pretty cool.
Well, no, I mean, with Bethany, he knows her. I don't know anybody.
oh yeah,
I don't know.
you know me now. Hey, I like gave y'all my life story.
There you go. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the second part.
Yeah.
We'll get a bebop or something like that.
We'll get that Tom T. Hall endorsement.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah. Don't.
That's the badass studio at the college.
oh yeah, okay.
Well, it's the performance hall.
That's the performance hall.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all want a studio, I bet I could talk to them and see.
Hey, subscribe for the studio.
Hey. Yeah, but yeah, I'll put out some feelers and see what I can finesse. And then you said you wanted to talk to a farmer, so I'll look into that too. To see if we can
that's
get a
gonna be
farmer on
dope.
the show.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. We'll go ahead and end it here. Is there any message? You know, you can shout out your family,
Your
whoever's checking it out.
TikTok,
Do you have a
Instagram.
Everybody.
message to the world?
A message to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mantra that
All
I
right,
told you
let's
guys
go.
earlier. I'm gonna say it again. People are temporary, you guys. So love who you can, while you can, as much as you can, no matter what. Okay, I love you.
And shout out mom.
Shout out mom. And shout out Patrick's mom because he doesn't want to shout her out. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out your
Shout
mom.
out my mom.
Shout out grandma and your uncle who came in clutch.
My uncle. My gay uncle?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out George. He's on meth now. But
Oh, shit.
Shout out, George.
And that has been another episode of the Yellow City Kids podcast. Remember to subscribe and like. It helps us out with the algorithm. You guys have a good night. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Yeah,
He's on meth now. Oh, fuck.
he is. You can keep that in there if you want.
Cool. Which one? Still know what's up. I think I love it, man.
We should do a TikTok. Like a dance.
I might need another shot.
I'm gonna need a bottle.
I'm so vain, you guys. I just like to look at myself. I'm gonna watch this like 3,000 times.
Hell yeah.
I want y'all to know.
You'll be like, what the?
Oh, I
Why's it
will.
got 50K views?
Right?
Hell yeah.
Me. It's just me leaving it there for like 12 years. Hi. So, Hernan.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Are you recording yet?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and hit the hopelessly devoted to you.
The only thing that I know from that song is when she says, hopelessly devoted to you. I can hit that note, but I'm nervous. I'm scared.